I hope you guys are enjoying the technical difficulties this morning. Oh, boy, we did it. We got it. Finally got it all squared away. Sorry for the late start this morning. And Jen's not here for a little bit, so I can't even blame it on her. The reality is I got distracted by the Ryder Cup this morning, and it's actually still on my TV. I need to turn it off, or I'm going to be distracted by it all day. Let me do that real quick. I thought I was going to be able to pull this off, and I'm not able to pull it off. So for any of you who don't know, the Ryder Cup is the United States versus Europe in golf. They do it every 2 years, and that's today. And that's where Trump is today, because where the fuck else would he be but at a golf tournament? Not a new hat. I've had this hat for a while. This is an Arizona State Sun Devils hat. I probably had it a couple months. I think I've worn it on stream today. Red's the color you gave in your head. Well, welcome everybody. Like I said, new Epstein list info just dropped. Did we just get breaking news? Let's take a look here. What just dropped? Dolphin. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's take a look at this. Came in about an hour ago from Oversight Dems. I missed it. New documents from Epstein's estate detailing his daily schedule. They show meetings with Steve Bannon, Peter Thiel, and a potential visit from Epstein's island for Musk. Whoa. 2017. Who's this one? Oh, lunch with Peter Thiel right there at noon. Let's see what these are. Parents to check out of Breakers and stay at Jeffrey Epstein's PB Palm Beach house. Reed Weingarten. Who's Reed Weingarten? Why do I know that name? Who's Reed Weingarten? Lawyer, Chambers and Partners. Veteran lawyer. Do we know any? It looks like, he's a very well-known lawyer. I don't know who he's representing. Nothing beats a JetBlue holiday. Jesus. What else came out here? Breakfast with Steve Bannon. All right. 2019. Fuck me, man. That's recent. I was thinking 2007. This was 2017. He was meeting with Peter Thiel in 2017 while Peter Thiel's funding Trump. When did Jeffrey Epstein die? What year was that? Is that 2019? Yeah, August 10th, 2019. Okay, so this is earlier in that year. December 2014, party with Bill Gates invited Ron Barron. Hold up. Is Ron Barron real? That sounds like, wasn't that, what was the, John Barron was the name. Who's Ron Barron? This guy? That doesn't look good. That looks like a mugshot. Cool visual. Okay, it's not a mugshot. Mutual fund manager, Barron Capital. Guess that's probably a different person. Probably this guy. Yeah, that checks out. All right. What else is in here? Reminder, Elon Musk to island December 6th, 2014. Is this still happening? Jesus. Oh, fuck. They're all in there. The flight manifest from May 12th, 2000, it looks like. Epstein, Maxwell, Adam Perilang, Prince Andrew. That's not surprising. Who's Adam Perilang? Any connection here? Said the cook? Uh-oh. That's not good. Like a celebrity cook? I hope that's not him. All right. There we go. Were there any other new documents that got released at the same time? Let's see if there's any. That was from Oversight Dems. It looks like it's all the same ones. Okay. That's what came through. Oh, shit. Yeah, I didn't see any of this. I don't know how I missed that this morning. Came out an hour ago. I've been looking through. In fact, I've been looking at Epstein stuff all morning, too. So that's interesting that I didn't see that. I'll just jump ahead, actually. As a reminder, though, as we get going, we are super chat. We are crowdfunded. We do have a gift goal, so make sure that if you can help us out with that gift goal, you do. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, and over on TikTok, if you guys want to help gift and pay our HR rep, that would be greatly appreciated. Let me get these pulled up so I make sure I don't miss any. Shoot, that might have been from before. Okay. Ty said, release Epstein Epstein-Minifin files. Dragon Wizard said, bad hat, go cats, bear down. No, we don't do U of A shit here. Except for down in Tucson, we just had a special election, and that's what's going to get these Epstein files released. So let's go to the Epstein file stuff. First of all, it's a reminder to any of our Republican friends that are here that if you want to honor Charlie Kirk, vote Trump to release the list. Make sure we get that list released. We didn't cover this because I think it happened on Thursday or maybe Wednesday after, but we never did bring up the fact that this statue. I don't know how you get this in here so quickly. Did anybody figure out who put these statues here? We know. How did they get those in there? Like, how did that just happen? Anyways, this is best buds, Epstein and Donald Trump. Do we know? Yeah, tweet did not age well. I don't know, Guy Fawkes. I'm nervous about Nancy Mace. I agree with you. I'm nervous about Nancy Mace backing out. Nancy Mace is having like a legitimate meltdown. Like she's having a legitimate mental health crisis. I'm concerned about her mental health. I don't think that things are going to end well for Nancy Mace. It's a group of 5 people. The tie needs to be. That's right. That tie is a little short there, isn't it? Needs to be down, covering his balls. Maybe back in the day he didn't wear his ties quite as long. They had a permit? Fuck out of here. All right, let's see. Who's responsible? Let's see. Who is it? It's from LA Times. Do I need a subscription here? Get out of here. Group responsible for creating the statue, an anonymous collective of satirical activists called the Secret Handshake, said the National Park Service denied a second permit to reinstall the controversial statue. Okay, so they had one before. Statue was removed because it was not compliant with the permit issued. I wonder what they said. Does anybody know what they said on the initial permit? What does it say in here? Best friends forever. Oh, they broke it too. Bad. It's bad times for Donald Trump. He's doing everything he can to distract us. That's fraud. Wait, why is that fraud? Oh yeah. Oh, the permit. Yeah. Shut up, Drew. Nobody fucking cares. These satirical artists they committed fraud. We must go after them. Nobody's you guys have become the softest group of people. Republicans, MAGA, you are so fucking soft. You have turned overnight into like thought police. You think language is illegal now. It's getting embarrassing. All because you just don't want to admit that you got duped by a fucking dumb guy who's also a sex pest, who's also a felon, who's also currently committing crimes, but mostly, and perhaps most importantly, just really fucking stupid. Like remarkably fucking stupid. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever seen somebody rise to a position like this, being this fucking stupid. The accounting register is fraud for lawyer fees. Drew, shut up, Drew. Shut up. Why don't you ever just pay attention to like the important part, like of any of this?
We should probably investigate that for fraud.
Should we investigate Donald Trump for fraud?
No, I'm going to spend my entire life defending that it was unfair that Donald Trump was investigated for fraud.
All right. I just want to again, while we're talking Epstein, so I'm skipping over, but I want to. I think it just goes. I think because I think we know that we're speaking to deaf ears, but this is the most obvious cover up I've ever seen, perhaps since, except for now when we have the anti-ice bullets. That might be the most obvious one. But this is again from Jeffrey Epstein, out of his own words. Happy to talk about the fact that he was friends with Trump, but then when specific questions are asked, here's his answer.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Yeah, June, he is fucking dumb.
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal...
Oh, we're not going to talk about that. I don't know, like, this is... remember how every day I tell you guys that Republicans think that having money means that you're smart, and that's why they consistently get duped by dumb people who are just rich? Yeah, that's you, June. We're talking about you every day. He's a dumb guy. He literally he sat up there 2 days ago and told you that that you shouldn't take Tylenol because of a gut feeling. Couldn't pronounce acetaminophen, which is why he had to keep saying Tylenol. And the fact that he keeps saying Tylenol is going to open up the government to a lawsuit that we're all going to have to pay for, by the way. They're going to get sued. Tylenol is going to sue them, all because Trump is too stupid to know how to say acetaminophen. That's how dumb things have gotten here. Like the guy can't read, and now we're going to have to pay settlements as taxpayers. So that's pretty cool. I also want to show you this clip from Ghislaine Maxwell being interviewed by Trump's personal attorney, pretending to act in the interest of the American people, pretending to act in the interest of you, MAGA. There should have been a follow-up question here. I'll just play it.
Did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there is no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, some of you in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers and you know, would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find that. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. Now, okay, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
I just want to see this. Like, if you met Epstein, there is no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, and some are in your cabinet who you value as your coworkers, and you know would be with him if he was a creeper because they wanted sexual favors. The natural follow-up question to this, if our government was trying to get real answers about Epstein, and which now, like we just saw, she just mentioned the names of people in the cabinet. Steve Bannon, who has been in the cabinet, Elon Musk, who has been in the cabinet. The natural follow-up question there is, who are you talking about? Who are these people in the cabinet? Who should we question next? And instead, this was the follow-up that we got out of Todd Blanche.
So, when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage?
You gotta be fucking kidding me, Republicans. You have to be fucking kidding me. She says that, and he's like, let me completely change the subject to something entirely different that doesn't fucking matter. Why would that question even matter? How is it? One, how's that the follow-up? Two, how's that an important question? She just mentioned people in your cabinet that were around Epstein. No follow-up? I would like to move on now and talk about massages. I think it's very important to know when the last time you were in the same room as Epstein when he got a massage. I'm going to try and like olive branch to you folks today. I'm going to try my best to olive branch. What the fuck happened to you? How are you today talking about Comey? Comey? Do you know what they're accusing Comey of doing? They're accusing Comey of lying in front of Congress about a leak to a journalist. Not a leak necessarily of top secret information, just a normal leak. And you want us to care about that. You think it's very important for us as a country to focus on an accusation that James Comey told somebody to leak something. By the way, they don't even have evidence for that. Fox News isn't buying this. Nobody is buying this shit. And Donald Trump and all of his friends are all over this Epstein list, and they're obviously not releasing the files on purpose. They are actively threatening Republicans to not release these files. For what purpose? Where did June go? For what fucking purpose do you guys seek to ignore all this stuff? What's this great benefit that you're going to get from Donald Trump? What, you want to bail out Argentina some more? You need his rich friends to get richer? You're just really invested in these crypto scams? You're getting absolutely nothing. This has now become your pride directly tied to Donald Trump because you thought, just like the last time, that when he got into office, all of these deep state secrets were going to be exposed. And every time we went down that route, it turned out there was no deep state secret. We have one deep state secret, and Donald Trump's part of it. And that's the one you guys don't want to go down. That's the one part we just don't want to talk about anymore. Honestly, what the fuck happened to America? How did we let one guy break us so badly? Cope. Guys, James Comey is not going to jail. He didn't break the law. They had to fire three prosecutors who have done this for a living their entire life. They had to fire 3 of them because all 3 were like, we can't bring charges. There is fucking nothing here. So they had to fire 3 of them. And now they have somebody, Lindsay Halligan, who has never tried a case in her life. That's who's bringing the charges. Somebody who has literally never brought a case. And these people that were fired were Trump appointees. How is it that you don't see this? How is it that you don't see that everybody around Trump that isn't an absolute loyalist gets fired? And how is it that you don't see that none of these things he claims happened or are happening ever turn out to be true? You guys still believe the same stories from 2016. You just recycle them over and over and over and over again. And every time they get slapped down in court, that makes you believe it even more. You're like, oh, that's actually further proof. If the judge throws out a case because there's no evidence, that's more proof. If a jury rules against it, that's even more proof that everybody's biased. You've all set yourself up into a position where Donald Trump has to be right. And he's almost never right. He's been wrong about virtually everything. I'll give you guys the same challenge I gave you on Wednesday. Somebody tell me what Donald Trump was right about. I'm watching CNBC about how amazing the economy is. CNBC's just all cope at this point. Drew, you don't. I hope you don't take CNBC's word because there is hours of highlight reels of CNBC like you need to buy stock now's the best time to buy a house, like a day before the entire economy crashed in 2008. You got, what was that? Squawk Box dude just up there screaming every day. Now is the best time to buy. We've never seen the stock market at highs like this. It will never stop. It's going to continue, and then crash. If you still believe if you still think that those people at CNBC are like analysts, they're cheerleaders. It's their job. I've been a fan of some bad teams in my lifetime. The cheerleaders show up always, and they always act like their team's gonna win. Like the Cleveland Browns, they have cheerleaders. No, sorry for the Cleveland Browns fans here. They've got cheerleaders every fucking day. That's what CNBC is. They're cheerleaders for capitalists, for their billionaire friends. That's why when they bring on people like Eric Trump, and they're like, I hate to even ask this because, you know, there's no way it's true. But is it true that you got $2 billion from the Qataris? And Eric Trump goes, why are we not talking about Hunter Biden right now? And CNBC goes, good point. We're very sorry for asking that question. We should be focused on Hunter Biden right now. All right, going back to this Epstein stuff. Here was Congressman Robert Garcia. Again, unless Nancy Mace completely folds, we're going to have all of the Epstein files. And we're going to have it with Republicans doing everything they could to not give you these files. So you're about to get files, Republicans, that are going to have apparently Donald Trump and all of his friends' names in them. And we're gonna get details from these files. We're redacting the names of victims as we speak. You're going to get these files publicly. And when you do, and you see everything that's awful in them, will you acknowledge that your party said, Congress, go home for a month, a couple days early, like, we're going to leave early so that we don't have to release these? Are you going to acknowledge that this administration went to every Republican? They've been calling them frantically on the phone, threatening them that if they vote to release these files, it is a hostile act against the administration. When Mike Johnson tries to table this, when Republicans stand up and try and table this motion without having the votes, here's what's going to happen. They're going to say, we vote to table. And they're going to do a voice count, and they're going to say, oh, yep, the vote to table is the majority. And then they're going to go and they're going to count the votes, and the votes will be wrong. So they will stand up there to defend Donald Trump, even though they know that they don't have the votes for this, even though they know they're going to lose the votes. I think it's going to be Comer at this point. I don't know who exactly. I don't know who's going to be the chairman. I don't know if it's going to be Jordan or Comer, or maybe this one's Mike Johnson. I don't know exactly which committee this is in. Does anybody know who it's going to be? But they're going to say they're going to do a voice vote, and they're going to claim that the vote to table it has enough votes, and then they won't get the votes, and then the votes to release the Epstein files will be made public, and you will all have to sit there, all of you with your red MAGA hats, and you'll have to grapple with the fact that for that was in since May, you guys have been doing everything to make sure that the American people couldn't see this list. I don't think you care about children. I don't think you care about victims. You clearly don't care about gun violence, only if it hurts one of your politicians, which is a really fucking bizarre world that we live in. Like, if people get killed, you're fine with it. If one of the people that you guys listen to on a daily basis dies, you'll never let it go. You're gonna have to grapple with this. Your side is trying to cover up the most prolific pederast in history. Your side's doing it, with Donald Trump not only cheerleading it, but threatening people. Here's Garcia.
Yeah, we've been inquiring with the DOJ. We're waiting for the Epstein files. They haven't been released. And we got a small sliver of documents, most of which, as you know, were already available to the public. And so we're waiting for the...
True, I think it is singularly. They're just going to vote to release them. I think it's going to be a standalone vote.
Subpoena to be fulfilled by the DOJ and the White House. And so we're demanding that every single day. Now, a few things are developing as we move forward. I mean, one, we know Adalija Grijalva, of course, he just got elected to, of course, the Congress out in Arizona. Wonderful new member. She will be our 218th member.
That was CD7 here in Arizona. Her father had passed away. She ran. And just so you know the numbers on this, Harris won that county. It's very blue. Like, she was always going to win. But Harris won that district by 22 points. She won it by 39 points. There's a massive shift right now. And the Epstein files aren't helping you folks.
To actually get the broader vote. Now, look, while we have a subpoena in place, having the entire Congress vote on it, I really helps build that case. And so I think that is going to be a stronger push to get the full files. And so that is a positive development.
No, Ty, doesn't have to go to the Senate as well.
As soon as we get back in a session, she's going to sign that discharge petition. The second piece is we're right now working on a pretty substantial subpoena effort. And look, right now, Comer says he's working with us. We'll see how that ends up playing out. We need the financial documents. I mean, the next big goal for us is to get a hold of all of the financial documents and records of all the banks that Jeffrey Epstein and his other co-conspirators were involved with. This should give us an enormous amount of information about who paid what, where the money came from. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was a very wealthy man. How he actually created and gained that wealth, I think is really critical to this broader case. We know that he knew the richest men in the world. We know that he was close friends with Donald Trump. We know that a lot of this of his terror was happening out of Palm Beach, Florida. These are all important clues as we build this case, and those bank documents are going to be central to it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Whoever said there is no list, I agree. There's probably not a list. It's probably a bunch of files. She should be sworn in. Somebody asked on October 7th. They could delay it. I think let me see what the date that the certification is. I think the certification date's like a week later, October 14th. So Mike Johnson's going to be able to push this out for an official vote certification from Arizona, which could be as far as the 14th. So what are we? We're at September 26th now. I mean, it still could be 2 weeks away. But again, I just like, you guys just comfortable protecting pedophiles? Is that like, that's your new thing now? It's more important that Donald Trump stay in office than we protect pedophiles. It's more important that we go after James Comey for lying to Congress than protecting innocent victims from pedophiles. It's more important that we go after Letitia James for voter fraud. All those things, or not voter fraud, excuse me, mortgage fraud, which, by the way, nothing there. None of these are going anywhere. I will bet anybody in here. I'll bet any of you Republicans that are here. And if you want to take a bet on the record, we'll take a bet on the record. You can choose the dollar amount. James Comey, Letitia James, neither one of them will be convicted of crimes. There's 0% chance. There is no crime there. What's going to happen is they're going to hold congressional hearings where you are allowed to lie. These members of Congress are allowed to lie in these congressional hearings because of the speech and debate clause, and they will lie and lie and lie, and then there will be no conviction. And then what they'll do is they'll just add that to the list of, oh, this is a cover-up too. This is a cover-up too. Everything we say that doesn't come true is just a cover-up. Anybody that wants to take those bets, happy to take those bets. It's 0%. Marianne, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. All right, I'm going to go back up. I don't think anybody's actually doing the outline today. We'll drop all the links in a little bit later. I wanted to show this clip because we didn't get to it on Wednesday, but I just appreciated it. This is Climate Defiance. They interrupted a fundraiser. Now, this is Wes Moore. This was the I forgot the name of the fundraiser. They may zoom in, but this is Democratic Governor Wes Moore, and this is what is the billionaire's name? Is it? I want to say Rubenstein. Might be wrong on that name. Anyways, you can just watch.
I just wanted to make a toast to David Rubenstein for owning 77 fossil fuel companies, a dozen weapons companies. If it blows children up or gives them asthma.
Oh, yeah, and then that's Glenn Youngkin, the Virginia governor.
Wants to invest. Okay, so just a big, everyone glasses up for David Rubenstein, the worst climate offender, owns weapons. If it blows children up or gives them asthma, he wants to invest. David Rubenstein, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. No one's toasting? Okay, weird.
I think it is great that there is bipartisan consensus not only on the genocide in Gaza, but what's happening in Alaska right now. The Willow Project is going to ruin the planet, financed by yours truly, David Rubenstein, everybody. Let's give him a hand. He is ruining a livable future for all of us. Your children are not going to be able to grow up because of what you're doing here today.
Governor Westmore, you campaigned on climate justice and being Maryland's first black governor while you are easing climate regulations and data centers are poisoning PG County and black communities. You vetoed the Renew Act. David Rubenstein and Glenn Youngkin, the Carlyle Group is making billions.
Private equity, public enemy. Private equity, public enemy. Private equity, public
David Rubenstein is a monster. He is destroying our future. David Rubenstein is investing billions of dollars in fossil fuel companies. It is an outrage that they're platforming.
He came to see me, and I said, look, the highest...
All right. End it there. I love that. I think billionaires, most of them are completely coddled, and they've been coddled. They never have to face the people in their life whose lives they're ruining, and we should normalize this. For everybody here, I just want you to know, if you're not in the YouTube chat, just know I don't believe a single one of these chatters in YouTube. I don't believe a single fucking one of them. I think every last one of them is a bot. You are not this stupid. Nobody is this fucking stupid. So when you're in the chat and you're a Republican and you're watching all of these people talk about like throwing James Comey and Ilhan Omar and AOC in jail for treason, just know those people that are saying that, they're not real. They're 100% not real. Otherwise, they would come up and talk to me about it. As soon as I brought this up, by the way, and as soon as they started saying that, a bunch more views flood in. This isn't real. Most of America, 80% of Americans want the Epstein files released. So does it make sense to you that when we talk about the Epstein files being released, does it make sense to you that like a couple hundred people would show up in YouTube and immediately try and change the subject? Or is that something that perhaps a bot farm might do to distract from the conversation that we're having and to make Republicans feel like, because you don't like me, even though you agree the Epstein files should be released, your hatred of me and now your hatred of other members of the Democratic Party, your hatred for them has clouded your vision to the point now that you're willing to go down any fucking rabbit hole as long as it gets you away from Donald Trump. Don't buy it. Don't buy it from these fucking bots. Don't buy it from these people who are trying to direct your attention elsewhere all the fucking time. Donald Trump and the Republican Party are protecting known pedophiles. They're doing it actively and purposefully. And all of these other things are distractions, and they're just ways for Donald Trump to be petty because he got caught committing crimes. But how many ever get convicted of crimes? None. How'd that Hunter Biden thing go? How'd that Biden crime family thing go? How'd that lock her up thing go with Hillary Clinton? You guys are always saying, it's always these bots saying the same thing. Comey today, Letitia James, it's Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton next. Like, it was worth a conversation in 2015 and in 2016. It's 2025. You've had plenty of time to present the evidence, to bring a case. Still no case. Yeah, Drew, you're real. Drew, I'm talking about YouTube. Drew, you're real, but you're just a troll. You don't actually believe this shit anyways. You just like the attention you get from trolling. You're every time we've had a conversation, you're like, yeah, I know. All right. I want to show this. More power to the people here. Check out the folks of Indianapolis. Check out the residents of Indianapolis pushing back against the oligarchs.
I'd like to announce our intention to withdraw this proposal.
I'm in Indianapolis, where Google just pulled down their petition to build an AI data center, preventing the city council from voting on whether to advance the project.
We beat Google. For a long time, it felt like we were four people with cardboard swords fighting a monster. But tonight, it shows that people power still reigns.
This was do or die. We came prepared to fight with everything we have against this data center, because if they voted it out, that was it.
It feels like I'm not going to have my livelihood destroyed. We farm 3 acres, so if there's no water or water contamination, I don't have a business.
Residents remain cautiously optimistic, but it's clear that the fight is far from over. This is the same tactic that a secretive tech company used in St. Charles, Missouri, which
I agree with that, Josh. Josh said, I've come to find that a lot of people don't even know why they're feeling a certain way about a certain topic. They're only scratching the surface level instead of asking, how did it come to this? I agree with that.
Pull down their application in the hopes of returning to the community when opposition fades away.
I don't trust Google for 1 second. We've been told before that if they withdraw on their own, then they can come back in 3 months.
Now we got, again, big tech coming in saying this is a perfect place for data centers, but they forgot to ask Hoosiers. Yeah. And Hoosiers are saying no. All my Hoosiers, I love you all. Keep fighting.
This is yet another rejection of big tech secretly inserting themselves into a community, threatening its water supply and electricity costs. Well, this story is...
Just ask yourself, everybody here, right, left, doesn't matter where you are, wherever you live, is it worth it for you to have your water bill double or triple and your energy bill double or triple to have an AI data center in your community? Is that worth it to you? Is that payoff good for you? We're not at like war right versus left here. Now you guys drive me fucking insane, and I drive you fucking insane. But the reality is, like, there's a war for our money and our resources right now. And unless Republicans stop being distracted, you're going to lose. These are bad deals for you. Anywhere they put a data center, the residents in that vicinity are going to get sick. It's going to, ruin the air quality, and it's going to drive up your energy bills and your water bills. And in some places, like they tried to do in Tucson, it potentially could dry up the city where you don't have water at all anymore. There is an active, attempted government overthrow right now. And it's not coming from the left, and it's not even coming from the right. It's coming from the oligarchs. And the only reason they're pretending to be right-wingers right now is because the Republicans have Congress, the presidency, and the Supreme Court. All of these tech oligarchs, they used to be on the left, because they thought their path forward was through Democrats who are more open to innovation. But then they found Donald Trump, and they're like, oh shit, this guy has control over the whole narrative, and he will change his mind with enough money on literally anything. And so they just started pumping money into Donald Trump, led by Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel's like the OG, hey, tech guys, we should invest in Trump. He was the first one to do it. And what's he all over? Now we're learning. Oh, he's all over those Epstein files, and Elon Musk now all over those Epstein files. The files released today say that Elon Musk was at least planning a trip to Epstein Island. And the tech oligarchs, they're not your enemy. These are your enemies, and I mean that like legitimately. They've done this forever, and now not only are they trying to control the cities, they're also trying to control narratives. They're also trying to control the media. You have Donald Trump friends, billionaire friends, who are buying up all of the media, and now they're going to control. They're going to give you a carefully crafted version of like oligarch good message, and a lot of you are going to fall for it because you fell for Donald Trump, and you have tied your identity completely to Donald Trump. So no matter what he does, you're all in.
And over, Indianapolis residents halted Google's plans, and that alone is worth celebrating.
My 6 years on the council, I've never seen all the rooms filled to the max with people waiting in the lobby. I'm overjoyed by the amount of community support that came out for this.
In a world where we are constantly being divided, everyone showed up tonight with a common goal.
Jorge, I don't know about that. Mention the fact that Epstein and the old president of Israel had over 50,000. It says Emily's. I assume you mean emails. Jen, if you're here, will you look that up, or any of the other mods? Will you DM a link to that? I don't know about that. I'd be happy to check it out. Thanks, Jorge.
And we won.
I've been like hoping that something would bring us together, and it looks like data centers are.
Power for the people! Not for Google! Power for the people! Not for...
All right. Here's the other attempts here. And now, like, they're just openly cheerleading it. What we have now is the rich being represented by the rich, because everybody in Trump's administration is either a billionaire, a multimillionaire, or an enabler of one. And so now they're going out on TV and they're trying to sell you, the American people, that what you need is oligarchy. Here was Kevin O'Leary talking about the purchase of TikTok. And one of the frightening things about TikTok, and you should be frightened about this even if you're a Trump supporter, what they're saying is that Trump, one, gets to kind of pick and choose who buys TikTok, and two, he's going to have influence on how TikTok is moderated. That should make you nervous. I don't understand how you, like, Republicans, hopefully you'll side with us here. We just had an announcement on Wednesday, I covered it, that ABC Inc., who is the parent company of Google and YouTube and Facebook, they came out and they said, look, here's all the ways that we were pressured by the Biden administration. And we did censor, like, we felt pressured from them. And so we censored people's accounts and we got rid of accounts. And we want to right that wrong. We don't think that it's our role to, like, determine what goes on these platforms and what doesn't. That was a big win for you guys, because you've been saying that about the Biden administration. And it was fair. I actually agree with you. I don't think the Biden administration, looking back, should have done that. In real time, my fears of COVID, if we're being honest, my fears of COVID were like, you know what, though? They've got to do it. What else are we going to do? We need people to live. But in hindsight, you can see what it actually did. What it actually did is it divided people completely. And now you have people who live in two different realities, where now you can look at the effects of the COVID-19 vaccine, and you can look at the adverse effects of being vaccinated. You can look at the adverse risks. You know that there were vaccine injuries. And you also know that those vaccines saved millions of lives. So we could look at the data from the vaccines and we could say, were they as effective as we thought? Probably not. Did they have more adverse reactions than at least the Biden administration was putting out there? Yes, there were more adverse reactions. And that's the reality. But in this country, it's vaccines perfect or vaccines evil. And there's no, like, we just don't meet in the middle. Like, we don't meet on a factual basis because we're so obsessed with Trump is right or Biden is right. And that divide doesn't benefit you, and it doesn't benefit me, and it doesn't benefit the American people. The only people it benefits are those trying to seize power. And I can tell you unequivocally, if this was happening under the Biden administration, this video I'm about to show you, I would be against this. 100% against this. I don't think that TikTok should have been forced to be sold. I think it's nonsense that we did that. And that came across the board. That was Democrats and Republicans that voted for that. I don't think the forced sale of TikTok should have happened. And now what we're going to have is we're going to have an obvious, like, right-wing TikTok where the administration gets a say in that. And you're going to hate that, by the way, if a Democrat comes into office next. But either way, like, how can we not agree that this is a bad thing? That having loyalists to the sitting president getting to basically bid on tickets, it's not an open competition because Trump has to okay this. So he gets to pick and choose who's going to own it. And the person that's going to own it are the owners of Fox News and the owner of and Larry Ellison from Oracle, who are buying up all of the media. If they can complete all of the purchases they want, that will be 80% of the media that they own. And you might think as a conservative, oh, great, finally, we'll have the type of coverage that we haven't got before. Finally, we'll have fairness. No, they are going to force feed pro-oligarchy shit to you. They're going to paint themselves as the heroes. That's what Kevin O'Leary's about to do here. He's about to go on CNN in defense of the Trump administration and this TikTok merger and tell you hey, you guys should rest assured. Don't worry. The billionaires are in charge now.
Because I get what you're saying. I mean, there's the China piece of this, right, which has been the whole point of the ban and everything, and that's supposed to deal with that. But the algorithm will be overseen by Oracle, founded by a Trump ally, right? Another Trump ally has been running it for a decade. Why should Americans trust a company that is founded and run by people with a clear political bent to be politically neutral in how it is administering the algorithm of such an important social media tool?
Well, I don't agree with that statement. I'll tell you who's going to control this algorithm and who is going to oversee this conversion to an American version. Congress. And the...
You like that? Do we like Congress controlling speech? Anybody? Not Republicans, not Congress. That's what we want? We want our federal government to dictate content? That's what you guys want? There's no way you want that. There's just no way that this is what you want. Somebody, I don't remember who said it. Somebody said like the TikTok sale hasn't gone through yet. I agree. But this is their proposal. You guys want Congress? Like, if you do, how are we supposed to not call you fascist? Every time you support all these fascistic things, what do you want us to do? How are we supposed to label this? Why don't you guys just come out and be like, oh yeah, maybe we're fascist? I don't think China was moderating the content in the way that you think they were. But I would trust China to moderate content more than our government, to be honest. Because if China had any like effect, any quelling attempt or silencing attempts on the moderation, what it would have been is criticism of China. I'm okay with that. Versus this. I can criticize China on other platforms, and criticizing China isn't like it. That's not substantial to me. It's not like a big part of my life. It doesn't really affect my liberties. But what happens when I can't criticize the administration? What happens when they start censoring the words I use to talk about this administration? That's what the First Amendment is for. Like our federal government can do nothing to take away your right or silence you or abridge your speech. They're not allowed to do this. This is the very First Amendment. If the problem was with China owning TikTok is that China silenced voices, then just fucking ban TikTok. But to say that China's silencing voices, so what we should do instead is make conservatives silence voices, then what are we doing here? What's the difference? I have a problem with this. I don't know how Republicans are sitting back going, yeah, this is totally the right thing. This guy from Shark Tank's making a lot of sense right now. We should let these billionaire oligarchs decide what people can and cannot say. They are the ones we should be nervous about. Ultimately, like, we can talk about Trump and you can talk about the Epstein stuff. There's a lot of things I'm critical of Trump for. But ultimately, the biggest threat to me is these oligarchs. The biggest threat to my future, to the future of my children, it's these oligarchs. And if they get this power, you don't get it back. Because Americans are absolute pussies when it comes to going after rich people. I've said this before. By 2030, it's projected they'll own 60% of our houses. 60%. 6 out of 10 of you will not be able to own a house. And that number will move forward. Their wealth is already at levels that we haven't seen since the Gilded Age in terms of disparity. Their big push right now is AI, which they say, they openly admit, will just rip jobs away from Americans. They are the threat. They're a bigger threat than Israel to us. They're a bigger threat than Russia to us. They're a bigger threat than China to us. The biggest threat to your way of life are these billionaires that the Republicans are like, you should just let them start making all the decisions, which ironically is their fucking plan. Their plan was that they would influence all of these politicians to the point that they could get those politicians to hand over the power. One of the most alarming things in what's that guy's name? Who's the crypto guy? Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam Bankman-Fried, when they went through his finances and he was being deposed, they talked about the money that he had spent on politicians, and he said what was crazy to me is how little money it took to get them to do just whatever we wanted. It was a remarkably small amount of money. And that's because in America, we've been conditioned to think that these big businesses are super important. We can't raise their taxes or they will go somewhere else. Okay. In New York right now, they're talking about this threat that Mamdani poses, and that all of these New Yorkers will flee the state because these rich folks don't want to pay more taxes. Do you know what their tax increase is? 2% after $1 million. 2%. You think they're going to leave over 2%? They already pay way more. Like Florida already has no state taxes. So they're already paying, I don't know what's the top income tax bracket in New York. Let's see. I think it's something like 12%. Am I close on that? 11%. So going from 11% to 13%. So already they pay 11% more in income tax than Florida and Texas, and they're in New York still. So they're all going to run over that 2%? Who do you think's behind that talking point that they will flee? It's them. They want to keep their money, so they threaten you. And what happens if they do flee? What happens if these billionaires leave New York? Does that hurt New Yorkers? Just in the income tax. That's it. But it also probably would drop a bunch of, you take all the rich people out of New York, suddenly New York would be an affordable place to live. The New York Stock Exchange is still there. It's still a major hub for tourism. It's still a major import hub. It still is a major media hub. Probably makes it more affordable.
Supreme Court. That code, that law, was written by the staffers of China hawks. Some of them are Democrats, some of them are Republicans, but they represent the people of the United States. And they will make sure, regardless of who's in the White House, long after Trump is gone, that this is so unusual that this platform, this media company that's ingrained in its own act of Congress and then 9-0 decision from the Supreme Court, they will abide by the law. The oversight will come from the people, for the people. That's what's going to happen. There's never been a deal like this. And so it's not, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. You break the law, you pay $800 billion. I can guarantee you.
Do you see that oversight enshrined right now? I mean, do you see experts who are dispatched by Congress who are in that? Because right now the plan is to have it overseen by Oracle in conjunction and cooperation with the government.
Right. So what you're going to get is a DOD, maybe Justice, whoever decides is going to oversee this translation and this conversion period, because that's what it's going to take. There'll be an oversight committee, and that'll be the people of the United States overseeing this conversion. And that's
you're
Congress.
Talking you're talking DOJ or the Pentagon.
I don't know whether Rubio will be involved or who's going to do it.
They're not seen as independent arbiters by much of the country, as you're aware.
Yeah.
Well,
imagine going in front of the American people and be like, you know what? We just need to trust Congress. They always get it right. Let's just trust Congress on this, okay? They'll get it right. I can't say anything bad about my billionaire friends. So now I've got to go on TV and I've got to hype up how good Congress is and how they're so good with censorship, and they're so good with spending our money, and they're so honest. Let's just trust in Congress, American citizens. Let's do that. Somebody asked me to look up the 1% paid in New York of percentage of taxes. It's like 50% of their taxes. Again, the reality is that I think a lot of people don't get with this, like with people fleeing. People have fled to Florida. People have fled to like rich folks. They have went to Texas. They've gone to Florida to protect their taxes. But you know what? What accompanies that every single time is flight of the middle class. The middle class leaves. And the middle class leaves because when rich people come in, when this vast amount of wealthy people show up, it makes it unaffordable for the middle class. And so they leave. It's further proof again that whatever you want to say about blue states and red states, blue states are far more friendly to the middle class. They are far more friendly to the poor, and red states are friendly to the rich. That's just reality. There have been more people that left Florida and went to California than California to Florida. But you're right, it's not the rich folks in Florida that are leaving because they're staying there. They don't have to pay income tax. It's the people who can't afford their homes anymore. It's the people who are watching their schools be dismantled. It's the people who are watching infrastructure fall apart. It's the people who recognize that they live in a hurricane path, but they won't get any compensation when their home is destroyed by a hurricane because they can't afford insurance or the insurance provider pulled out of the state entirely. And the insurance providers pull out of the states entirely, not just because hurricanes come through every year, because they always have. It's because the home prices have skyrocketed so much in Florida due to the amount of wealth that came into Florida that it is no longer affordable for these insurance companies because 5 years ago, they were insuring a home that was $200,000, and now that home is $900,000. And their only choice is to increase premiums to make up for that, right? Because the premiums are based on what you're going to pay out. And if suddenly the payout on the average payout per house isn't $200,000, it's $600,000, then the insurance companies can't operate. So they just pull out because they can. And so like Florida had to create their own insurance program, which is also going bankrupt, which is also pulling out, which is also costing average Floridians hundreds of and thousands of dollars a year. So the middle class and the poor, they're getting the fuck out. You do not want a state of rich people. I grew up in Utah. It's called the Silicon Slopes now. There's this area between Salt Lake and Orem where Charlie Kirk was just assassinated, point of the mountain and into like South Salt Lake that they call the Silicon Slopes now. And there's a bunch of tech companies, startups, but also like Adobe moved their headquarters to Utah. Why? Because Utah gave them massive tax breaks. You know what changed in Utah? Home ownership. Home ownership rates are way down. Rent prices have tripled since Silicon Slopes started building there. The rate of unhoused people has doubled in Salt Lake. It destroys them. My parents, where they live, the house that I grew up in was in a smaller, like quiet town. The home that my parents live in, I don't know how many square feet it is. It sits on a half acre. It's probably worth $1.5 million right now. And if my parents sold, they could go nowhere. They could get like a real small house in a bad neighborhood. That's it. Like they couldn't even get the equivalent of their own house. Because the house is, I think my house was built in like 84. I think that was the year that it was born. No, maybe 80. It was 80. I don't remember. I think it was 80. That's what happens when you take all of this money and you inject it. And the local politicians and the statewide politicians, all they're looking at is receipts. They're like, yay, money, money, money. Oh, look, new jobs, new jobs, new jobs. And they never look at the middle class and they never look at the poor. That's the difference between Democrats and Republicans, is that Democrats don't do enough, but they do something in blue states to help the middle class and the poor. We're in an all-out, like, all expense paid war. Let me read some super chats that have come in. Thank you, Tim. SJ said, if a few gun deaths are worth keeping the Second Amendment, why isn't a few vaccine deaths worth having vaccines? Good question. Papa Baggins said, media has gone to shit ever since the Reagan administration abolished the fairness doctrine. All of our issues can be traced back to Republicans. Tommy said, is Canada's neighbor now North Korea? I think I read those. Thanks, Marianne. And then I think some came through over here as well. Tony said they want Russian state TV and they don't care if it happens. You guys, I do think that Republicans in general, like they're so frustrated and they're filled with lies, like they're just blasted with lies every day and they feel helpless. I do think that that's what they've done to you. They've just made you feel so helpless that you're willing to have like an oligarchy. You're willing to have an authoritarian. But most of the stuff that you think is an attack on you, most of these things that you think are happening, legitimately like are not happening. They're not real. Let's get back to the outline. There was actually one more part here. This is a good way to jump in here. Let me show you Mark Zuckerberg now. This is how much money they have. Again, somebody brought this up the other day that whatever, I don't remember what their job was, but they use AI all the time. I will consistently say, until they can prove to me that AI is worth all of this money, then I don't know why we're spending this money. Listen to how Mark Zuckerberg just guffaws about how much money they might lose with AI.
I mean, didn't you just tell Trump you were going to spend like $600 billion? I mean, that's
I did, yeah, through 2028, which is
that's a lot of money.
It is, and if we end up misspending a couple of $100 billion, I think that is going to be very unfortunate, obviously. But what I'd say is
that amount of money could end food insecurity in this country. Like if we took that money, we wouldn't have food insecurity anymore.
I actually think the risk is higher on the other side. If you build too slowly, and then super intelligence is possible in 3 years, but you built it out assuming it would be there in 5 years, then you're just out of position on what I think is going to be the most important technology that enables the most new products and innovation and value creation in history. So
that's not more important than people living. That's not more important than healthcare. I need you Republicans to just like think about your own lives, please. Just think about it. Spending all of this money on AI, is it worth all of your bills going way up? Is it worth the air quality being worse? Could we put this money somewhere else that would be of better use? Why is it so important that we be the world leader in AI, which we don't have a fucking shot at, by the way? We have no fucking shot to be the world leader at this. China and India are going to beat us because they have infrastructure, because they also invest in renewable energy. So it's going to be more affordable for them. China right now is doing everything they can to basically take their grid and make it renewable, which is why they consume so much coal. But the amount of coal that they're using goes down every single year. And in this country, we're saying we could have energy to do all this AI stuff. We could. We were doing renewable energy, but Trump is also beholden to the oil barons. And so he's like, you know what? I can't build out renewable energy without them being pissed. So we're going to use gas and we're going to use oil, and that's how we're going to run energy in this country. We need every American to subsidize the oil companies and these AI companies. Why? Why the fuck are we doing this? Just from purely, just from like a financial standpoint, you saying that green energy is a scam and that we shouldn't invest in it. You're just saying, I want to continue to pay for energy. It could be free in the future, but I need to continue to pay for it. And those prices will just continue to go up because they always go up. That's where we're at right now. Where these oligarchs, these tech billionaires, they don't give a fuck because like they can pay the energy bills. The oil barons, they don't give a fuck because they just want to sell oil. And it's not like they're producing all of this oil and they're making so much of it that we can consume oil and coal and natural gas cheaply. No, they're trying to sell it to every other country. They're trying to increase the amount of buyers for oil, which increases the price. It would be one thing if they said, like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to drill, baby, drill, and we're going to drill so much oil that you're going to have dollar gas. That's what they told you they were going to do. When Donald Trump said he was going to make your energy prices lower, he said, I'm going to drill, baby, drill. But that only works if you increase the supply and not the demand. If you increase the demand with the supply, the price continues to rise. If you increase the demand over the supply, then the price rises even more. The only way to bring down these prices is drill, baby, drill, and don't export the oil. But they're not doing that. I know that we get like distracted and we talk about all these like peripheral issues. We talk about social issues non-fucking stop. We talk about like, did Charlie Kirk die because somebody said the word fascist? But the reality is they're just selling you out over and over and over. They're selling out your media. They've sold TikTok out, and they're doing it on ideological grounds, and you're just buying it. All because of your hatred for the left. You're all burying yourselves and your families. We've got to wake the fuck up at some point. This isn't a right or left issue. This is oligarchs taking over, and these same oligarchs were funding all of these Democratic politicians up until end of 2024. The same ones thought that their path to success would be by going through these Democrats and pushing for green energy and pushing for AI, and they would develop all of this goodwill with the Democrats, and eventually that's how they would get power, and it would happen slowly. And then they saw a cheat code, and the cheat code was Donald going, "I take bribes, guys. I'll do anything. No, I don't care. Like my constituents, they don't give a fuck. They're gonna vote for me no matter what. I have them so worked up and so angry that they'll just believe anything I say and they'll vote for it." And the oligarchs like, "Fuck, we don't know if you're gonna win though. We're not sure if you're gonna win, so we're not gonna give you a dime until you win." So it was just Elon and Peter Thiel. Even I don't even think Peter Thiel gave much in this last election. And as soon as Trump won, all this money came flooding in. Why would they be giving Trump money after he won? How does that make any sense? Why are they flooding Trump with money after he won? Because they want this.
So I don't know. I mean, it's I don't want to be kind of cavalier about it. I mean, obviously these are very large amounts of money and we're trying to get it right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the risk, at least for a company like Meta, is probably in not being aggressive enough rather than being somewhat too aggressive. But
why do we care about Meta? Why are we giving subsidies here? Why is our economy revolving around like Sam Altman and OpenAI and Meta and Google? Like, why are we pretending that these guys are going to like fix? They're the ones that fucked this whole thing up. Facebook destroyed, absolutely destroyed our culture. And everybody saw how much money they could make. So like, oh, we better do it too. So then you had Twitter pop up. Google, what was it? Google, their version they tried to do. Then Instagram popped up, and then they bought Instagram so they could make sure that they got all that. Why is this company so fucking important? Why is it so important for them to have AI? What are they going to do that benefits you? What innovations will Facebook bring out that are like, oh, that'll make my life better? What, AI sunglasses that you can go outside and record with? Cool. What the fuck are we worried about them for? Why are they so important? Not to tell me. Why is it important for Facebook to win the AI battle?
But part of that is like we're not at risk of going out of business or something like that, right? If you're one of these, companies that like an OpenAI or an Anthropic or something like that, where they're raising money as the way that they're funding their build out, and right. There's obviously this open question of to what extent are they going to be able to keep on raising money, and that's dependent both to some degree on their performance and how AI does, but also all these macroeconomic factors that are out of their control. I mean, the market could get bearish for reasons that have nothing to do with AI. Maybe something bad happens internationally, and then it could just be impossible to fulfill the kind of the compute funding, like the compute obligations. So I think that's it might be a different situation if you're in one of their shoes, but I think for us, I think the clear strategy is it's just I think it's creates more value for the world.
Does it? Does Facebook provide you more value? Is Facebook a value add to any of you? Like I'm probably one of the only people in here that like these media companies is how I make my living. If I need these media companies to make my living, and I can still recognize that we don't need to give these guys a bunch of subsidies. Why can't you? Like, if you're not making your living off of Facebook, even those of us that are off these social media companies, by the way, and for everything that they provide, which is a platform, I've got to pay them at minimum 30% of everything I earn. 30%. Then I got to pay taxes on top of that. We really need these companies? This is really what's making America great? No, it's making the gap between the rich and the middle class bigger. That's it. They need you to be able to pay your bills, and that's it. They don't care if you save money. As long as they have money, it's irrelevant. They want to take away your health care. And now look at this. Now they're even funding, like, they're going to take your Christianity and use it against you. There's a story coming out recently. This is Ryan Walters. He's normally wouldn't be famous, but he's the superintendent of the schools in Oklahoma. He has done a remarkably bad job. Oklahoma is ranked, I think, now 50th in education, which is bad. I don't know if you guys know this. There's 51 options, and they're 50th. And it's only gotten worse. And he got caught looking at porn on his work computer, and he won't talk about that. His best friend also, that helps him on this crusade. It was a gay porn star who's now like a Christian nationalist, speaks to Moms for Liberty all the time. They're obvious frauds, and they're obviously funded. And Ryan Walters, who, he's a school superintendent. I don't know how he's affording all these nice suits and all these trips. Oh, yeah, he speaks for Moms for Liberty. Who's funded by who? Dark money oligarchs. Now listen to what they're going to talk about. Here's their new plan.
I'm excited to announce I'll be stepping down as Oklahoma State Superintendent and taking on the role as the CEO of the Teacher Freedom Alliance.
Oh, cool. He's quitting his job in public service, and he's going to be a CEO of a Teacher Alliance. What are you going to do? What's this big value add that you're going to add here for the American people?
We're going to destroy the teachers' unions. We have seen the teachers' unions use money and power to corrupt our schools, to undermine our schools.
So we're going to use money and power from dark money super PACs to undermine our schools. Teachers' unions, my mom was in the teachers' union. The teacher unions, they advocate for better pay. The teachers unions aren't out there being like, we need to teach more sex to your kids. They're just trying to get equal pay, and they're trying to get more not equal pay, better pay. And they're trying to get more funding for schools. Who do you think's paying this? Who do you think would be opposed of unions? Who do you think is opposed to you as workers having the right to collectively bargain? Oh, I wonder. Oh, no, this is a Christian thing. Now they're just taking Christians. They're taking your fear of trans people and your fear of sex, which is a weird thing to be afraid of, and they're going to go after teachers' unions. They're going to go after every union. They don't want labor to be able to negotiate against them, because that takes away some of their power. So now you have these billionaires with so much money that it doesn't matter. Like, it's nothing to them to pump $100 million into Ryan Walters if it means that they get to undermine unions. If it means that their taxes are a little bit less, this is great for them.
We are one of the biggest grassroots organizations in the country. We will build an army of teachers to defeat the teachers' unions once and for all. So this fight's going national, and we will get our schools back on track. We will not allow any further union control.
So they're making their own union funded by billionaires to take control of public schools. Will their teachers be guaranteed better pay? No. Will they increase funding? No. They just want to privatize schools. They just want to privatize everything. Ever since 1982, Republicans just want to privatize everything and hand it over to the billionaire class. And you sit in here every day and you just buy it. I don't know why you guys buy this shit. It's never worked. Since 1982, has wealth inequality gone up or down? Up. Have wages kept up with inflation? No. How's the national debt gone? Bad. What has gotten better for the American worker since 1982? Name me one way that the Republican policies have made your life better since 1982. I'm giving you 53 years. 53 years of data. Name one way Republicans have made working conditions or pay better for the middle class. You could, even if you point to tax cuts, you can go look and you can look at the wages. The wages don't keep up with inflation. So those tax cuts make the rich richer, and they make the middle class lose more of their of their control of assets. Do we have anything? A white knight for anti-intellectualism? Bitch, I'm here for intellectualism. You think Republicans are anti-intellectual? They want to, like that guy that I just showed you. Let me show you what he was doing in Oklahoma. Here's a teacher in Oklahoma. Listen, this is what you want to talk about anti-intellectual. Oh fuck, that's not the right one. Here it is. I think it's the right one. God damn. Let me find this. Sorry, I put the wrong link. Here it is. Here's an actual teacher in Oklahoma, and he'll tell you. Here's what it meant for the teachers in Oklahoma. Now you tell me, is this intellectualism? Is this pro-intellectualism?
Hi, my name is Aaron Baker. I'm a high school social studies teacher in Oklahoma.
Sorry for the
and
quiet.
This is one of 2 God Bless the USA Bibles that was sent to me by State Superintendent Ryan Walters. And after months of claiming that one of these Bibles was going to be in every Oklahoma classroom, 2 finally arrived at my school with my name on it, specifically because I teach AP, U.S. government, and politics. Now, I don't want to talk today about the issue of Bibles in classrooms. If you want to see a catalog of my world religions library in my classroom, you can see a previous video about that. I want to talk about this Bible in particular. When I first received this Bible, the first thing that struck me was that it was very generic, leather-bound, King James version of the Bible, just like I grew up with, probably owned a dozen or more in my lifetime. It's not a study Bible. There's no in-text commentary. There's nothing unique about the version in and of itself. The only thing that is quote-unquote special about this Bible is that in the back, when I was a kid, where the maps used to be, is where we find a letter from the Greenwood, followed by the Declaration of Independence, followed by the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights, the Pledge of Allegiance, and then a place for notes. As I was looking through.
So all of those things already existed in literature, except for the Bible, and apparently the lyrics to "God Bless America." Not sure why those are important in school. That's intellectualism, but it gets worse.
I came across the Constitution, and since I teach government, I was interested in the presentation. As I mentioned, the Bill of Rights is listed here as well, although the Bill of Rights are part of the Constitution. And then if the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution are mentioned, and then that is directly followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, something became apparent to me. One could say that parts of the Constitution are missing, particularly amendments 11 through 20.
Yeah, you'll say it. If you only have the Bill of Rights, you have the Constitution and then the Bill of Rights. That's the first 10 amendments. That's not the Constitution. The Constitution includes amendments, all amendments. You want to talk about anti-intellectualism? How about saying that just the first 10 matter?
7. But you could also make the argument that this is the wrong Constitution, in fact. The Constitution in this Bible contains what's called the Three-Fifths Compromise, which was summarily removed by the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery in the United States. The 14th...
Is that... What's that? Is this intellectualism? Yeah, so who said that? Who said indoctrination? That was Shah. Yeah. This is just straight up Christian indoctrination. That's what this is. I don't want to hear you guys ever talk about intellectualism ever. From your party? From MAGA? You guys are the most anti-scientific party that has ever existed in this country. You guys just tried to ban Tylenol with poorly cited studies that have already been thrown out in court and who have been debunked over and over and over again.
Amendment is also missing from this Constitution, and that is where we get the due process of law. This is not an accident. This is an incomplete, at best, Constitution that's in this Bible, and it's a dishonest Constitution, and it's not the Constitution.
Hey, Zeus, I appreciate this. Said, I'm a Trump supporter who's not religious. Can you explain to me why this is a good thing then? Why you're still supporting Trump while he does this?
Constitution that I teach in my classroom. I believe that this firmly indicates that we are exiting a stage of MAGA revisionist history where the message is that slavery was not that bad, and we are firmly entering into one of the final stages of MAGA revisionist history, and that is that slavery never existed. And that's what appears to happen in this Constitution, in this Bible, because the original articles of the Constitution does not use the word slavery. The 13th Amendment has a direct reference, and if you are trying to rewrite history, leaving those amendments out will help make that point. This is very concerning, and I wanted to raise the alarm on the fact that this kind of blatant revisionist history is being pushed into our schools in Oklahoma, and it needs to stop.
Just name me a time anybody's ever been more like anti-intellectual ever in this country. I want to get to some breaking news before Trump headed off to the Ryder Cup today, which, by the way, I'll get to in a second. He's now in New York at the Ryder Cup. He stopped to talk with reporters, and he said something that I thought was surprising, and it gave me a little bit of hope.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza, and we'll let you know. Mr. President, I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal which it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal. That'll be number 8, Peter. Not 10.
All right. So claiming that we have a deal with Gaza, he said yesterday that he didn't think that Israel was going to should be allowed to annex Gaza and take it over. Seems to be a change of tone. I imagine what's happening right now is that the people around Trump are telling him there's no use to hanging on to Netanyahu anymore. It's going to cripple your poll numbers, and it's going to cripple Republicans' ability to win elections, because the country as a whole, like the majority of the country, no longer agrees with what Netanyahu is doing. I imagine that's what it is. That's why Trump's sudden change, but just after allowing him to do a genocide for 10 months, just let it go, wipe out almost everybody. And then here we go. Michael said, sorry, RTP, the anti-intellectualism comment was meant for someone in the chat. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Thank you, Michael. I was like, the fuck? I hope they hide the Ryder Cup from him so he doesn't steal it. No, the Ryder Cup is like decades old. It's over 18 years old, so I don't know how interested Trump's going to be in stealing the Ryder Cup. But then you had Netanyahu, who, by the way, the people all walked out on Netanyahu again today. He went to speak before the UN, and the room emptied. But Netanyahu doesn't sound like he's on the same page as Trump right now.
Giving the Palestinians a state 1 mile from Jerusalem after October 7th is like giving al-Qaeda a state 1 mile from New York City after September 11th. This is sheer madness. It's insane, and we won't do it. Giving the
I don't know what we're going to do there. But yeah, that's a good point, Chet. BB has said this last week. Sorry. Like Trump here. That's better. Suddenly had a bunch of cloud cover, so no natural light. Yeah, wait, sorry, what did you say? You said that BB said he has Trump in his pocket. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe he does. But if what Netanyahu has over Trump is what's in the Epstein files, oh, thunder. Then perhaps, like, just knowing those Epstein files are going to come out, Trump feels safe now to go after Netanyahu. Maybe this will be how he tries to save himself. I don't know. What do you guys think? Why do you think they're on different pages right now? I'm trying to square it in my own head. I can't figure out why these two suddenly aren't on the same page. Or maybe Trump's just lying. Maybe Trump's saying, "Oh, it looks like we have a deal." He said that before. Could be that big storm rolling in. Yeah, it's bad. A good storm out the window there. It is crazy. It's crazy. Like this is why I say that these Republicans in here are bots. No matter what I talk about, they're just like spamming like talking points that are good for Republicans. I'm going to do my best to ignore them today. Like, could you stay on subject? I want to read your comments. He didn't say how the war would end, just that it would. No, I think he said, didn't he say he thought we had an agreement? Let's go back to that. He said we have an, let's see, you might be right.
It's looking like we have a deal on Gaza.
A deal on Gaza.
And we'll let you know. Mr. President, I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace. I think we have a deal. That'll be number 8, Peter.
All right, you're right with that. But I did see that he had the other quote saying that he didn't, that they weren't going to give that land to Israel. He didn't say they get land or country. He did say that. Let me see if I can find it. I didn't add it to the outline today, but let me see if I can find it. If I can find this clip. Is it? Yeah, it could be a deal to develop oceanside resorts. Is this it? See if I can find it where he said that. All right, this is from Newsmax. Let's see if they've got a video of it. Newsmax doesn't want to load right now. Don't know why. All right, here's the actual clip. This was him. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I think this was yesterday.
Did you promise leaders this week that you would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank? Is that something that you?
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it.
Ah, fuck.
It's not going to happen.
Did you?
Fuck. All right, I see what you're saying. You might be right. Saying Israel can't annex the West Bank, but also saying that we have a deal, that doesn't necessarily mean that America doesn't take control, which is what he said before. You might be right about that.
Netanyahu about this
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now.
Yeah, because then when you couple that with some of the other things that he has said, I go up here. I think if I went to top, it was... Yeah, you have quotes like this from him.
We'll build beautiful communities for the 1.9 million people. We'll build beautiful communities, safe communities. Could be 5, 6, could be 2. But we'll build safe communities a little bit away from where they are, where all of this danger is.
Fuck, this sucks. Cassie, stop saying exactly like you knew just because you knew the whole time. Stop it. You're making me feel dumb. Yeah, okay. If you wanted to piece this together... Netanyahu says we won't let Hamas build within a mile of Jerusalem. Trump says he won't let Israel annex that land, but doesn't say that it's going to go to the Palestinians. And then you have this. Yeah, fuck. That's not good.
In the meantime, I would own this. Think of it as a real estate development for the future. It would be a beautiful piece of land.
Would the Palestinians have the right to return?
Spent. No, they wouldn't, because they're going to have much better housing, much better. In other words, I'm talking about building a permanent place for them. Because if they have to return now, it'll be years before you could ever. It's not habitable. It will be years before it could happen. I'm talking about starting to build, and I think I could make a deal with Jordan. I think I could make a deal with Egypt. You know, we give them billions and billions of dollars a year.
That sucks. I was a little hopeful. Here's him again talking about his dream of controlling Gaza.
For the Times of Israel, the IDF is fighting to get in the Gaza Strip. I myself might be called up in a month. Do you think that's the way to pressure Hamas to get to a deal? And do you think blocking humanitarian aid is also an effective pressure?
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in. But you know, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place. It's a, you know what I call it, a great location that nobody wants to live in, because they really don't. And when they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible. And I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well. There's no way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out? Not good.
Yeah. Kushner has been on record. I can't remember I might be able to find it on the map, but Kushner had basically selected a place where they said they would send the Palestinians. Does anybody remember where that was? Here's the clip, actually. Let's see if he says exactly where it is. Remember, this is the person who negotiated the Abraham Accords, and this is before that, but here's Jared Kushner.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to, if people would focus on kind of building up, livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterwards.
Yeah. In our spring series of what we are calling...
Somebody said, how credible are the Gaza leaks, the Gaza plan? I don't know. This actually got us taken down. This doesn't exist on YouTube anymore. This got one of our first deep dives that we did into Israel's plan for Gaza. This actually got us taken down when we tried to play the video, and it got taken down for copyright infringement. We couldn't show this YouTube video. I don't know how credible it is, but they did create an AI generated plan full with high-speed rails, and there was obvious Tesla factories there. I don't know. They claim it. They claim that it's not. They claim that it was not them. That was just something that somebody floated. I don't know how credible that is. I probably need to revisit that. I haven't revisited that in a long time, but not sure. Let's talk about the Fed's direction. Y'all go down. Shut the fuck up, Big Bo. We will talk about the Feds going down, but let's talk about this first. Big Bo, how many more times do you have to be wrong? How many more? You got this is finally it. Your people are going to jail. You've been saying that for as long as I've known you, Big Bo. I think you will go to your grave saying the same shit. You've been wrong for so goddamn long. You're desperate to be right. FOD said, I see a lot more support than op to IDF accounts still. Opposition than IDF. You see more opposition to IDF accounts still. Yeah, I think you're saying the same thing. I think most people are against the IDF. I don't think they have a lot of support. Here's changing subjects. Here was Aaron Parnas announcing a new move by Pete Hegseth.
We have some major news that people need to be talking about. In the past 24 hours, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, has
ordered
Jamie.
a
Happy
highly Friday.
unusual meeting of senior generals and admirals from all around the world next week with very little notice and with topics unspecified. Meanwhile, overnight, according to Jim Sciutto, American jets were scrambled to intercept Russian bombers near the Alaskan coast. We've seen a number of mysterious drone incidents in Copenhagen, Denmark, with many speculating.
Listen, I'm only playing. I know we don't like Parnas. I know a lot of us don't like Parnas, but he does get breaking news like this.
That it could be a foreign actor doing something in Denmark. There are discussions about NATO possibly shooting down Russian drones if Russian drones fly over NATO airspace, all while Russia is saying if that happens, that'll be tantamount to war. Donald Trump has changed his tone on Ukraine, essentially offering NATO more military equipment. There's a lot of smoke up in the air, and it's important that we parse through what's happening, but on the world stage, a lot is happening, and I'll provide you updates as we get more information. Spread the word because this is serious, and follow along for all the news you need to know about.
I think Parnas might be wrong there. He may be right. He may be wrong. What makes the most sense to me is that we're about to see a big purge in military leadership. They are tightening this administration up. And everybody who's not willing to do whatever Donald Trump says is being run out. They're all being fired. Even simple stuff like, hey, you need to prosecute Comey. And they're like, all right, got it. We'll look into that. And then they look into it and they're like, fuck, we don't really have a case here. And they're like, sorry, you're fired. And then the next guy's like, yeah, I looked into it. Still no case. Sorry, you're fired. Next person up, you're fired too. Lindsay Halligan, have you ever prosecuted a case before? I've not. Will you prosecute this one? Yeah, sure, I'll do whatever. Great, you're in charge now. Night of the Long Knives. I hear what you say, K. Burke. There. Yeah, I don't think that this is. I don't think this has to do with war. I think, yeah, Adam, a purity test. Yeah, that's what I think it is. I think this is a purity test. And it goes along with shit like this. Here's a disgusting thing that Pete Hegseth did today. This is outside of like war crimes, I don't think a Secretary of Defense in this country has ever done something more alarming and disgusting.
Under the previous administration, a review panel was convened to determine whether soldiers awarded the Medal of Honor for their actions at the Battle of Wounded Knee should keep their medals. Now, upon deliberation, that panel concluded that these brave soldiers should, in fact, rightfully keep their medals from actions in 1890. The report was concluded in October of 2024. Yet, despite this clear recommendation, former Secretary Lloyd Austin, for whatever reason, I think we know he was more interested in being politically correct than historically correct, chose not to make a final decision. Such careless inaction has allowed for their distinguished recognition to remain in limbo until now. Under my direction, we're making it clear without hesitation that the soldiers who fought in the Battle of Wounded Knee in 1890 will keep their medals. And we're making it clear that they deserve those medals. This decision is now final, and their place in our nation's history is no longer up for debate. We salute their memory, we honor their service, and we will never forget what they did.
First of all, lying about the conclusion of that report, which says they should not. But if any of you are saying, I saw some people say like, this is like, we have nothing better to do. It's so much worse than that. If you're not familiar with the massacre at Wounded Knee, they call it the Battle of Wounded Knee, which is, again, it's just branding. There were 300 members of the Lakota tribe who were killed by soldiers of the United States Army. There were, the number is anywhere from 250 to 300. I guess I should be clear on that because we don't have an exact number. So 200 and 300 people of the Lakota were killed, 51 wounded, 4 men, 47 of women and children. Some of those died later. 26 U.S. soldiers were killed and 39 were wounded. But the way that this happened, and the fact that we're honoring these people, is one of the most obvious acts of white supremacy and revisionist history that I've ever seen a politician take. I have no idea who the fuck supports this. Wounded Knee is in South Dakota. Following a botched attempt to disarm the Lakota people, as the United States military did everything they can to continue stealing the land from the natives. A detachment of the military that was commanded by Samuel Whitside approached Spotted Elk's band of Lakota near Porcupine Butte and escorted them 5 miles westward to Wounded Knee Creek, where they made camp. The remainder of the 7th Cavalry Regiment, led by James Forsyth, arrived and surrounded the encampment. The regiment was supported by a battery of 4 Hotchkiss mountain guns. Those are kind of like the Hotchkiss mountain guns. They had 4 of those as well. And the Lakota, obviously, they had some firearms, but they were outnumbered and they didn't have the artillery. Let's see, where was I at? That's the mountain gun. Let me go back. There we go. The army was catering to the anxiety of settlers who called the conflict the Messiah War and were worried about the ceremonial ghost dance and that it signified a potentially dangerous Sioux resurgence. Wounded Knee, from historian Jeff Osler wrote in 2004, Wounded Knee was not made up of a series of discrete, unconnected events. Instead, from the disarming to the burial of the dead, it consisted of a series of acts held together by an underlying logic of racist domination. Does that sound familiar? I'm going to show you a clip here in a minute. Like we're back to our roots of white supremacy. They were afraid of a ceremonial ghost dance. They saw the Lakota people, who they said were the Sioux people, doing a ceremonial ghost dance, and that made the settlers who came onto their land and stole their land, it made them nervous. So naturally, we needed the army to come in and take control. On the morning of December 29th, the U.S. cavalry troops went into the camp to disarm the Lakota. One version of events maintains that during the process of disarming the Lakota, a deaf tribesman named Black Coyote was reluctant to give up his rifle, claiming he had paid a lot of money for it. Black Coyote's rifle went off at that point, and the soldiers began firing on the Lakota. The Lakota warriors fought back, but many had already been disarmed. They'd already had taken their weapons. In 2001, the National Congress of American Indians passed 2 resolutions condemning the military awards and called on the federal government to rescind them. The Wounded Knee battlefield, the site of the massacre, was designated as a National Historic Landmark by the Department of the Interior. In 1990, both houses of U.S. Congress passed a resolution on the historical centennial, formally expressing deep regret for this massacre. They killed unarmed men, women, and children, and they buried them in a grave, somewhere between 250 and 300 of them, after they had disarmed them. And during this time, our obvious racist, white supremacist government tried to cover it up, and they told a conflicting story, and they gave all of these soldiers medals. They gave these soldiers medals just to try and cover up and show their absolute bravery. And a century later, Republicans and Democrats alike came together and they recognized this as a tragedy. They did literally the least they could possibly do, which was offer an apology and a statement saying that this was a tragedy. And now in 2025, the U.S. Department of Defense, who has rebranded themselves, which is not real. They can't do that. Congress has to do that. They're even using the logo. This is the epitome of like brainwashing and fake news. Now they're coming together to give those brave white supremacists their medals back. Remember when we were like, you know, Pete Hegseth has white nationalist tattoos, and you're like, well, they could be, or they might be something else, but he's definitely not a white nationalist. Okay. All right. Nobody cares about being called racist or fascist or Nazi anymore. Yeah, you guys got to toughen the fuck up. Words have meanings, though. Like, what other excuse is this? What excuse would you have for this? Shut the fuck up, Sean Fink. Shut the fuck up.
Al host, I can't believe that you are siding with the people that were massacred.
You're a white supremacist too, probably. What are we doing? Why was that important? Maybe it's a white nationalist symbol. Maybe it's not, Sean Fink, but he is a white nationalist. You guys get tired of race talk because you're racist, and you get tired of that being thrown in your face. I think that the reason that we see this, though, I think why we're seeing this consolidation of power in this administration, why I think you're going to see mass firings next week when these military leaders come together, is because the world and the country is turning on Donald Trump. He doesn't have the support that you guys think he has. The problem with Republicans has always been that you are universally cowards. All of you are cowards. You never stand up for what's right. It's a team sport for you. And you won't stand up against Donald Trump because, like, in your heart of hearts, you're a bitch. That's how you become a racist person. That's how you become a person who, like, thinks that racism is okay. That's how you become this person who hates LGBTQ people, who thinks trans people are coming after your rights, who thinks that like immigrants are ruining this country. You're just a bitch. Like, this is just bitch shit. You have small minds, low IQs, and you're bitches. You're afraid of everything. You wake up every morning and you get afraid, and then you go on the internet and you talk tough. But you're all bitches, and Donald Trump is the bitchest of the bitches. Pete Hegseth, also a bitch. And you can't convey your thoughts. You are racist. You are scared. And that's what leads to violence. And then there's this other misunderstanding that, like, because these people are often led to violence, oh, we carry guns and we fight, so we're not bitches. No, that's like the proof that you're bitches. That you're unable to produce an argument that makes any sense. And then you just get mad and you get violent. That's why right-wing violence is so much more prevalent than left-wing violence. I saw on Fox News the other day, they brought up the stat that like 75% of violence, political violence, comes from the right. And I swear to God, I swear on my life, the host said, oh no, this was Megyn Kelly, actually. It was Megyn Kelly. She said, yeah, but when you take out all the crazies, it's about equal. Yeah. Why you got so many fucking crazies over there? How come they're all like, oh, well, this person clearly wasn't thinking straight. Yeah, none of you are. None of you are thinking straight right now. You just want to worship Donald Trump. This is a bizarre thing, but like the reality is, like, you're just kind of bitches. Have you seen the advertisement for the Department of War with the reciting of the Lord's Prayer? No, send it to Jen if you have it. Dreamliner said, "Power of the people. Sinclair lifted its boycott of Jimmy Kimmel." Oh, they did. I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about. This didn't get a great deal of press, but Charlie Kirk had a memorial at State Farm Stadium. Look what happened. It was packed. Look at this. Packed. There was virtually no empty seat. You can see Erica Kirk is speaking here. The people are on their feet and they're happy. Look what happened to the stadium when Trump was speaking.
Before he was murdered, Charlie received these reason because he was winning, and he was winning big. He was taking over college campuses, and now that's not even questioned. Ask Johnny because he was so proud, and he did hold that torch high. We will never, ever let it fail. We will never let it fail. But we're going to...
Yeah. He doesn't have the support he's pretending to have. That's why they won't stop talking about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk had far more support than Donald Trump did, because Charlie Kirk, at the very least, literally at the very least, like, he was coming to the realization that like what we were doing in Gaza was a genocide. He was taking the pushback that he was getting from the people in Turning Point USA, and he was turning on this administration. He was telling them to release the Epstein files and do something about the genocide in Gaza. And then he died. And however he died, look, I tend to think that it was a lone shooter, but the people on the right, I've watched conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy. Most of the right doesn't believe that this was done by Tyler Robinson, at least online, like your most prominent creators. There's a civil war going on the inside, and they're all fighting because most of the right agreed with Charlie Kirk when it came to, or at least what Charlie Kirk was alluding to when it came to our actions or lack of actions in Palestine. And most Americans, 82%, say we should release the Epstein files. Donald Trump doesn't have the protection that MAGA thinks he does. He's losing badly right now. And he has all these members of Congress that he owns, but he even lost 4 of those. So you're going to see mass firings over and over. Like, we're already seeing every single day somebody from this administration is being fired for not just doing what Donald Trump said or not coming to a conclusion despite the evidence backing it. He doesn't have it. That's why I don't think that this meeting of military leaders has anything to do with us planning to go to war. However, I will say historically in this country, when you have a president who was in a lot of trouble, they go to war. Netanyahu did that in Israel. Netanyahu was going to go to prison, and he's just like, we'll just do war instead. So I just don't think things are going to get better. I think they're going to get more violent. But most people in America, the majority of people in America oppose Donald Trump. I think his approval rating's in the 30s now. If you had like a free election, if you just had everybody could vote, like text from their phone today to reelect Trump, he would not be reelected. He would lose in a fucking landslide. So they're going to have to figure out something to do. They're going to have to figure something out with these midterms. They're going to have to figure out a way to cheat. The sensible thing to do would to be end the support for Israel and release the Epstein files. That would be the sensible thing, because then Donald Trump could be viewed as a hero. But for some reason, he won't do that, and I don't know if it's because his fingerprints are all over it, which is what I suspect. But if it's not that, then he's just prideful. He just doesn't want any negative attention, and so he'll do anything he can to make sure that we don't have any of this attention. I also want to tell, like this morning, I was watching the Ryder Cup, and there was this moment. So the United States, I'm going to catch up later, but when I left, they were down 3-1. They lost 3 out of the 4 matches this morning. They're favored to win. They lost most of these matches, and at one point they go to the leader of the Ryder Cup team. His name's Keegan Bradley. And one thing I hate about golf is that like all these golfers now, they're so filthy fucking rich that they've all just become Republicans. And they got Keegan Bradley on the mic, and they said, "You're down 3-0. They were leading in one match. Like, what's the plan?" He said, "Oh, well, Air Force One just..." Jen, can you mute real quick? I'm getting feedback. "Air Force One just flew over, so I think things are about to change." And immediately, the one match they were leading in, they lost that match, or they lost their lead. They wound up winning the match, but they're down 3-1. And there's this thing called the curse of Trump that I want to talk about, but let's let Jen get her announcements in. Hey, Jen.
The curse of Trump in golf, is that when he comes in and cheats on everything?
No, it's way better.
No. It's a better curse?
Yeah.
Got it. So today is Friendly Friday, right? That's the plan?
Yeah.
So we are a ways away from our goal, our gift goal. We typically do the last hour of the show on Fridays, which would be in about a half hour from now. Usually start that, but we need to do a lot more work on that gift goal to get there. So if you guys could help us out, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all of that go towards knocking down that remaining balance that's in the top left-hand corner. So if you guys could help knock out that goal so we can get to Friendly Friday, that would be great. If you haven't subscribed to us already, please do so. We have member-only events coming up on Monday. We're watching a watch party with a Mormon dating show. It's
I forgot I've kind of forgotten about that. Yeah, Monday. We're back. Where they bleep the word sex.
That is weird.
Hey, hold on real quick. YouTube mods ban Sean Fink forever. Go fuck yourself, Sean Fink. Thanks. Go ahead.
Okay. But yeah, so if you haven't subscribed to us, please do so. If you guys disagree with RTB, you can actually come up and talk to him. How you do that is if you look at that Venmo, that is my Discord username. You can add me on Discord, send me a message, and I can bring you on to talk to Jay. So that's how you can come on and have a conversation. You don't have to stay in the comments. Check out the link tree in our bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. So yeah, there's all that. We've got a little bit that we've got to get to that gift goal so we can get to Friendly Friday. I have an addiction to seaweed.
Oh no.
I'm gonna seek kelp.
That's so stupid. All right, back to the curse of Trump. Now, this is unscientific, so please just let me have this. There's a like in the sports world, there's this thing called the curse of Trump now, where when Trump pledges his allegiance to somebody or supports somebody, they tend to lose. This happened at the Super Bowl with Kansas City. If you remember, it was like Trump went in. They have, of course, Harrison Butker and that dog shit quarterback there that they have, whose name will go unnamed. The NHL's Four Nations tournament, where Trump showed up and then they lost. But it's specifically happening in MMA, and I want to show you. This is a guy named Colby Covington. Colby Covington was a good fighter who was really boring and nobody gave a fuck about him. And then one day, like, he was told that he was going to get cut after this fight, even though he won a fight. And I'm trying to remember who. I think it was against Damian Maia, and he was in Brazil. And he won the fight, and he went on the mic, and he said something like, Brazil, your country sucks. All you filthy animals suck. and went after Brazil. They all booed him, and then he became famous because there's nothing that like the bros like more than an American going on TV and shitting on another country. And ever since then, he just adopted Donald Trump as his entire personality. Like he started dressing and he started talking about fake news. Everybody who asked him a question he didn't like, he called it fake news. He would bring up Trump all the time. He did a press conference pretending to read Don Jr.'s book. And basically ever since then, he struggled. But here was recently, he was fighting a guy named Joaquin Buckley, also an American. And Buckley was supposed, I don't know if Buckley was supposed to fight Bilal Muhammad or Covington was, but Bilal Muhammad is an American with Palestinian family, and he's one of the few UFC fighters who regularly stands up for the Palestinians. He'll walk out with a Palestinian flag. That's his heritage. And so Colby Covington said this before his fight against Joaquin Buckley about Bilal Muhammad.
This fight, how it got made, what made you accept a fight with Buckley, and the journey on how you got here?
Yeah, so I called the UFC when Bilal had a pager on his foot and he backed out because I guess the pager exploded on his ankle and messed up his toe, which is just weird. You guys need to ask Bilal, why is he wearing pagers around his ankle? It's just weird. But
first of all, a terribly formed joke. He always has like the meat of a joke. He has an idea with a joke, but he obviously doesn't have a joke writer. The framing of that joke, nobody knew what you were talking about except for like a few of us, but
so he pulled out of the fight. So
diabolical
I called the
hairline.
UFC and volunteered. I wanted to fight Shavkat. That was
this fight.
All right, so let me show you how this fight ended. So then Donald, he used to also say that he was Donald Trump's favorite fighter, and Trump said that once until he lost in front of Trump twice, and now Trump won't even like say his name anymore. But let me just show you how that fight ended for Colby Covington here. This may get taken down eventually. This is how that fight ended.
Night. Buckley times the right hand. Final seconds of round one. We'll keep it here between rounds. Big end of the first 5 minutes for Buckley.
And that cut was too much for that fight to go on, so he lost that fight. Here was him fighting in front of Donald Trump against Kamaru Usman, who he was also racist against. And just a quick slow-mo of Kamaru Usman breaking Colby Covington's jaw. Night.
Oh, yeah.
How much? Colby Covington lost to Kamaru Usman twice. He now lost to Buckley. His career is basically over. Then you had a fighter named Sean O'Malley. You may know who Sean O'Malley is. He goes by Sugar Sean O'Malley, and he's been actually one of my favorite fighters to watch. But he kind of adopted Trump, and you can see here one of my favorite pictures. This is Merab Dvalishvili, I think is how you say his name. He's from Georgia, not the state of Georgia, the country. And Donald Trump came up and said this was his favorite fighter, Sean O'Malley. And you can just see this picture of Donald Trump watching as Merab picks up Sean O'Malley and slams him to the ground. Merab won this fight very, very easily right in front of Donald Trump, which was a beautiful sight to see. This is just all part of the curse. Then there is a man named Bo Nickel. He is an American wrestler turned a UFC fighter, and we don't talk about UFC very often, but you may remember Bo Nickel from this clip.
Like, what? Like, pull him.
It's crazy.
If you had any other job and you were talking like that,
yeah,
they would go, "Hey, you're done."
If you talk like that to a doctor at your medical exam to fight, they'd be like, okay.
They're talking about Joe Biden referencing airplanes in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, like obviously they're not fighting. Would also here's 8 weeks of being helped out by a professional, like
right. You might not ever do anything again.
No, it's one of the wildest things ever.
It's insane.
Yeah,
and the media gaslighting you to protect. It's just people are so afraid of Trump being in office and Republicans being in office.
A few moments later, hanging out with the guy, I'm like, man.
Well, it's just the media narrative. I mean, so many people were fed this lie that
Oh, I know. Just wait for it.
The Russia collusion.
See how they just like shit all over Biden. They're like, God, what an idiot. He should be pulled. He shouldn't be president. Anybody who says that should lose their ability to make decisions for themselves. Like the way that they ragged on Biden, and then young Jamie comes in and whoops.
Yeah. Was this the video you're talking about?
Let me see what this one says. I don't think it is.
What? By the way, the same stable genius that said the biggest problem we had in the Revolutionary War is we didn't have enough airports.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoa.
What?
Just for the record.
Is that fake?
It's not fake, but he was referencing Trump saying that. Here's what Trump saying it in 2019.
Oh.
Donald Trump said something about that. He didn't say Jesus. He said a stable genius, and that's where the transcription.
Let me hear what it says. What did he say?
In June of 1775, the Continental Congress created a unified army out of the revolutionary forces encamped around Boston and New York, and named after the great George Washington, Commander-in-Chief. The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he fucked up.
Yeah, he did. But I feel like
Took over
that's
the airport.
you can tell too. It sounds like a little different. He's like, you can tell he like messed up his words, but
Yeah.
He's
not crazy.
Well, that's the thing about media these days. It's like
right.
You
never
gotta
know.
look into it.
Suddenly it was fine. Suddenly it wasn't the craziest thing that they had ever heard. So I just stumbled over his words. So that's Bo Nickel. And Bo Nickel was, again, another person Donald Trump called his favorite fighter. Trump showed up to watch him fight multiple times. And then this happened to Bo Nickel. This is Bo Nickel here in the black shorts. And good night. Yeah, sorry about that, Bo Nickel. Then you have Bryce Mitchell, because it doesn't end here. You may remember Bryce Mitchell. He's kind of famous for a couple things. I have a video of Bryce Mitchell talking about like how he's going to fight for God.
He was,
but Bryce Mitchell is most famous maybe for this.
Hitler, Hell and the Nazis. I really don't think that he was, because I honestly think that Hitler was a good guy based upon my own research, not my public education indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy I'd go fishing with. He fought for his country. He wanted to purify it by kicking the greedy Jews out that were destroying his country and turning them all into gays. They were gaying out the kids. They were queering out the women. They were queering out the dudes.
Sorry, I should have trigger warning there.
They were, you know what her first tranny surgery ever was? Happened to be in Germany before Hitler took over. You know the books that everybody makes fun of Hitler burning? You know what the books was? Queer books. Hitler burned queer books because Hitler didn't want a bunch of queers destroying his nation. They can't produce children.
Yeah, that's why we call you guys Nazis. And by the way, he's very upset when people called him Nazis. And then right in front of Donald Trump, now that you've all had to watch that, Trump here ringside, here's what happened to Bryce Mitchell.
Another choke attempt. Oh, that's tight. Real tight. That's tight. There's the tag. Good.
Yeah. It's kind of nice to see him punch the face. And then last one, a man named Michael Chandler, who loves Donald Trump. Here is Michael Chandler, who has openly campaigned for Trump. Here's him just getting... There's a man named Paddy the Batty Pimblett from the UK, a Scouser, who uses his time on the microphone to advocate for things like mental health. When he lost a friend to mental health, he stood after a victory and cried and said, men talk to each other, men reach out to each other, men be vulnerable. Don't let this happen to your friends. If your friends are going through a hard time, be there for them. Make sure you create an environment where men can talk to men. It's just good guy after good guy after good guy knocking the fuck out of these Trump-loving idiots. And I just say, like, that's the state of our country. We're at the state of our country where Donald Trump is just like an icon. And people love him because he says a bunch of shit that they all say in front of their friends. And the reality is that I think it's happening, and we'll see if this happens with the Ryder Cup as well. But what happens to all of these athletes is they think they've got what Trump has. They think that they can withstand all of the attacks and it won't affect them. But what they don't have that Trump does have is narcissism. And so Trump can't feel this. These things can't consume Donald Trump's life because he doesn't think about anybody or anything. It's just him all the time. And every attack against him is wrong, and he's able, because he's a narcissist, to keep moving. What happens to all of these athletes who go all in on Trump is they get hit with the backlash that Trump has, and they can't stand. They can't keep doing it. And they lose. They lose their edge every fucking time. And that's what's happening to MAGA right now. It's fracturing. It's falling apart. People can't stand there. People can't sit there with their friends and their family and their neighbors and be like, yeah, genocide's totally cool. Yeah, no, it's totally fine that we're locking people up for speech. It's totally fine that our president is talking about investigating everybody on the left and locking up anybody who got money from George Soros, while his Treasury Secretary, every fucking dime this guy has to his name came from working with George Soros. He was George Soros' right-hand man. He ran his London office. It's impossible for MAGA to stand up to criticism without being able to focus on other things, which is why you'll see, if there's any MAGA that's left here today, they're all going to try and talk about anything other than whatever we're talking about at this time. Here's another thing that's going to be difficult for MAGA to stand up to. Here's what Trump said today. It's today the 25th. This was yesterday. Starting October 1st, 2025, we will be imposing a 100% tariff on any branded or patented pharmaceutical product unless a company is building their pharmaceutical manufacturing plant in America. Building will be defined as breaking ground and or under construction. There will therefore be no tariff on these pharmaceutical products if construction is started. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Have fun with your 100% increase in pharmaceutical drugs. Have fun with that. Why? You need your drugs made in America, or else they're 100% more? Good luck defending that. Fuck Donald J. Trump said, planting my ass in the comments all week. This is rent money. Thank you. Thank you, Allison, as well, for sending a Venmo. Check here. How are we going to defend that, MAGA? He has you so wrapped up in this, like, America first and every other country is evil, we're the only good ones, that now he's going to raise the price of your pharmaceuticals. You know how long it takes to put it? Let's just say you're part of you have a drug that you rely on to keep yourself alive, and that drug is manufactured in Belgium. Do you know how long it would take for them to move their operations here to start building a manufacturing plant or breaking ground? Do you know how long that would take? Months, years, perhaps. That means people are going to have to eat this cost, which means what else? What else comes along with this? When we see the spike in pharmaceutical drugs, what other prices are going to spike? Insurance, right? What's going to happen to these pharmaceutical companies and these insurance companies' stock price? It's going to go up. And what Donald Trump will be is like, look at the stock market, and you'll all just be saying the same dumb fucking thing over and over, which is all you have left if you are MAGA. All you have left to point at now is the stock market, which doesn't fucking benefit you. In fact, that's the evidence. That's the evidence that they're only doing stuff for billionaires. Every other economic indicator is trending down or is in the toilet. The only one is the stock market. And the only way the stock market could keep going up while everything else is crumbling is if you are forcing it. If you are protecting only those in the stock market, the 1%, which they're absolutely doing. And they tell you, like, oh, the Biden administration, the Obama administration, they didn't spend on the American people. What about our veterans? We can't spend another dime overseas until we take care of our veterans and we take care of things here at home. And they got you all to buy into ending USAID, which has destroyed our relationships, specifically in Africa and South America, but it's also left like millions of people to die. And they didn't take that money and reinvest it in you. They gave a tax break to their friends. Remember, you were going to get checks. They told you, oh, you're going to get refund checks. You didn't get refund checks. All your costs went up, and billionaires got a tax break. What else did we do with that money? What else did Donald Trump do with this money? Where else are we wasting money? We think of one that we just did. How about we just bailed out Argentina for $20 billion? How about that? Why'd we just give Argentina $20 billion? Because they're Trump's friend? At the same time, because of these cuts that Republicans are planning to make to the ACA, and by the way, Donald Trump and Republicans are all out there in front of microphones, and they're saying they want to make all your kids trans everything, free everything, and that's why they're trying to shut down the government. No, it's about this. Look what will happen. Enrollees making above 400% of poverty will lose all financial assistance without the ACA. So a national average benchmark silver premium for 55-year-old couple making $85 annually was used for the 2025 column. The 2026 column assesses that 2025 benchmark premiums will grow by 18%. So this is people making $85,000 or more per year. There used to be a premium tax credit of $13,000 that you could get. Basically, just you could write that off on your taxes. Now that that's gone, these folks were paying $7,000 a year, and they will now be paying $20,000 a year. And if the premiums grow by 18%, like they're projected to grow, they are going to go from paying $7,000 a year to $24,000 a year. This is $85,000. That's the middle. That's middle class America. That's not rich America. That's middle class America. So if you just take this out of there, they were making, there was $78,000 there. Let's just say if there was no taxes. This is going to take up like a fourth of their income now. Do you think this will have a chilling effect on the economy? What if people can't afford this? What if they have a nice house? What if they've been budgeting their money and they're like, okay, I pay about $7,000 a year in health insurance. This is what I can afford for my house. This is what we can afford for groceries. If we want to take a vacation, this is what we can afford. What do you think that $16,000 increase they're about to pay? What do you think that's going to do to our economy? What do you think that's going to do to the middle class? This is what Republicans are telling you. They're telling you right now that this has to get pushed through. And that the only reason Democrats are fighting against this is because they want everybody to be trans and everybody to have free shit. They're lying in the most obvious fucking way possible. And I'm telling you, if Democrats fold on this shit, if Democrats fold, it's on them too. This is going to be devastating. And at the same time, while we're talking about this money that we need to save in America, we're bailing out Argentina for $20 billion. What are we going to get out of that? At best, we might. What minerals does Argentina have? I bet we're going to get access to that. But it's going to be oil and minerals. Let's see. Argentina's mineral fuel resources are dominated by substantial reserves of shale oil and gas. Isn't that weird? And how will that benefit you? It won't. You're not going to benefit from that fucking at all. But who will benefit from that? These oil barons. This is what you vote. This is what you voted for. This is what you're like. This is what you guys are putting on the fucking hat for. Oh, MAGA baby, make America great again. USA, USA, USA. They're fucking over the American citizens and they're bailing out Argentina with $20 billion. And what they'll get back for that is a handout to their billionaire oil executive friends. It's awesome. He's doing great, guys. This is what you voted for, right? Tanya said, happy Friday. Thanks for all you do, Jay and Jen. Thank you. Amy Lynn said, so glad my husband's very left-leaning city job that his Teamsters pays 100% of our medical. We'll see how much longer they can do that. You think these businesses where they're paying for medical, you think they're going to be able to afford that? I don't know. If we're seeing an 18% premium increase this next year. What's up, Jen?
Have you checked Cash App recently?
I'm checking it right now. Yeah, is there one that I supposedly missed?
Wasn't me asked if.
Oh, I might have read it in my head again. Said, I like my rich with fava beans and a nice Chianti. Thank you. I know I laughed at that in my head. I think I read it while a clip was playing. Thank you. They're calling They're calling this bailout to Argentina. The way that they're phrasing this, you can see from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent here. They're calling it, Treasury Secretary Bessent unveils a $20 billion bazooka to try and stem Argentina's financial crisis. And what the White House is calling this is a zone of influence. That's what USAID was. USAID, we used that for influence. So we just blow up our relationships with everybody else. But in Argentina, where we have another just like right-wing authoritarian, we'll bail them out so that we can help oil companies. Super important. How much did we cut to USAID? How much USAID funding was cut? What did we cut there? What was the total amount? $60 billion. So there's a third of it, just right back to Argentina. They have lithium in. Do they have lithium in Argentina? Javier Milei is making Argentina great again, bro. We just had to bail them out because their fucking economy crashed. What are you talking about? He's so bad at his job that their economy crashed, just like ours is crashing. This is what I'm saying. This is why we say it's a cult. It doesn't matter. They could just be like, Donald Trump could just walk up and start slapping you in the face and be like, this is making America great again. You are so enamored with catchphrases and so educated by catchphrases that when things are falling apart, you're like, this is working. If what Argentina did is working so well, why did we just have to bail them out when their entire economy collapsed? Their economy wasn't worse under the socialists, and they weren't socialists, Daniel. The fuck are you talking about? This is the thing. You guys are entirely educated by talking points. I don't know how you guys live. Do you just wake up and just read a fucking script every day? They're actually doing very well. He's doing much better than everybody else. Oh yeah, when did we give him $20 billion last time? This idea of Javier Milei, the reason that he is so beloved by the right is because everybody on the right still thinks trickle-down economics works. So when they see somebody else do it, they're like, see, they get it too. By the way, he's a crazy person. Javier, like, take one look at Javier Milei. He is an absolute crazy person. This isn't a sane person. Nobody looks like this that is sane. Nobody chooses to look like this. This is an absolute insane person. Chainsaw. Oh, look. Where are we at? We're at the Western Wall here? Shocker. This is a crazy person. And we have a crazy person as president too. It's like the more bizarre they look, the more you're like, yeah, I'm in. I'm all in on this shit. Want to know another way that they're fucking you with this? You guys know about our soybean farmers, right? He does look like Austin Powers. You know about our soybean farmers, right? How they're all going bankrupt right now? And how now we're talking about having to bail out the soybean farmers? Because they can't sell their stuff to China anymore. Guess who can sell their soybeans to China? Argentina. Argentina can. Look at this. China bought $12.6 billion in U.S. soybeans last year. Now it's zero. Because of Donald Trump's policies, our soybean farmers are losing everything. $20 billion bailout for Argentina's Milei raises eyebrows. Why? China buys Argentine soybeans after tax drop, leaving U.S. farmers sidelined. Except, oh, they're just going to buy the Argentinian soybeans. Oh, $20 billion for Argentinian farmers, but not for ours. And Brazil. Thank you. Also for Brazil. China's buying all their soybeans from Brazil and Argentina now, and our farmers are going bankrupt. America first, right? America first? Please come to reality. Where the fuck is Big Bo? Where the fuck is Drew now? Did you guys bounce? Are we ever going to come back to reality? Are you ever going to look at what's actually happening and realizing, one, this is not for you, and two, it's not for anybody else in America except for a handful of billionaires? Yeah, USAID bought our soybeans too. Yeah. And by the way, we're going to bail out these farmers. But we're going to do it next year. Trump's going to do it in leading up to the midterms, and he's going to act like a savior. And Republicans are going to go out and they're going to campaign on, look what we did. We bailed out the farmers. We made a tough decision, but we love our farmers. So when our farmers are hurting, America's hurting. And we'll go into more debt for our farmers because we love you. And for some farmers, they'll be like, oh, thank God, that's great, because I was trying to figure out how the fuck I was going to vote with the Democrats when they don't hate trans people and immigrants. But now that we've been bailed out, we still hate trans people and immigrants. So a lot of those farmers will still vote for Republicans who just like sell them out all the time. How come every time a Republican gets in office, the farming community goes bankrupt and we have to bail them out? Specifically Donald Trump. Every time this motherfucker is in charge, we have to bail out our farmers. And I'm not talking about like the subsidies that we give them already. I'm talking about on top of the subsidies that we give them. Because we subsidize farmers in America. It's not a profitable industry. They rely on government subsidies to stay afloat. And they rely on like contracts from USAID to stay afloat. And they rely on international trade to stay afloat. So we'll just fuck them over and we'll bail out Argentina? There's no fucking way you voted for this. There's just no fucking way that you voted for this. You're all lying. And you're lying, not like to us, we know you're lying. But it's the lying to yourself that I think is like getting pretty alarming. Let me go to the YouTube chat. What do we got? He's doing great for our farmers. Okay. Leader of Argentina is literally what Musk is. It's there helping him. Dude is the same person who said he was an ANCAP, but in reality, like all ANCAPs, was just a corporatist. Oh, good. Adam. Yes, Adam. Farmers aren't getting the money, though. They're struggling selling their lands. Yeah. Well, no, we'll buy up a bunch of their land first. Here's Elon tweeting about how great Argentina is. Further proof that we never need to listen to Elon. Here was Elon Musk in May. I recommend investing in Argentina. Do you remember what Milei also did? Let's also not forget this. That Milei and Argentina got sold on crypto from Elon Musk and from the Americans. And they created their own coin, and it got rugged. Argentina lost, I think, hundreds of millions of dollars on a scam crypto coin. And guess who ran that scam crypto coin? Same guy that runs Trump's the Melania crypto coin. That was a massive rug pull. These were billionaires, millionaires, and rich tech people who scammed Argentina and rug pulled their crypto coin, and it lost them hundreds of millions of dollars. And Elon's like, we should invest in them. They're great. Yeah, Milei is great. The only reason any of you guys like Milei, the only reason that you think Javier Milei is a good president is because he loves Donald Trump, and that's all it fucking takes for you. Just put Donald Trump's dick in your mouth, and suddenly you're great. That's it. You only care if somebody supports Donald Trump and nothing else. You're going to lose this battle. You are absolutely going to lose. You're bleeding support everywhere. And you have like a little bit of a chance to save your own legacy, but you won't. You'll go down like dipshits. Like a lot of you 20 years from now will be like, Donald Trump was great. Like after all of this, after we have all this extra debt, after we have to go in and we're going to have to force billionaires to give wealth back. We're going to have to break up monopolies. We're going to have to use the heavy hand of government to undo all of this. And the whole time we're doing that, you'll be like, this is not freedom. Look, I told you guys that the left was all about government control, as they break up billionaires to save you so that you don't live in an oligarchy. And Democrats will just keep doing it. Let's hope they have a spine and make it lasting this time. But that's how we're going to have to fix this, if we fix it at all. Or a bunch of moderate Democrats will come in and they'll be like, Donald Trump was bad and we're better. And then they'll be like, Elon, what did you need? Oh, you wanted another $2 trillion in government subsidies? Yeah, you got it, Elon. Then it'll just be back to the status quo. But none of this is useful to you. None of this helps you. None of this makes Trump look good. None of this makes you look good. But more importantly, this is bad for the entire country. Even the oligarchs who are short-sighted right now is bad for them, because The oligarchs will face a mutiny. If they get all of this power, they will eventually face a mutiny, and that doesn't end well. All right. I'm gonna go back to ICE. Meanwhile, in the streets, we got brown shirts. This man should be in jail. This is an ICE agent. This woman just had her husband taken away by ICE. I don't know if he's I take it back. I don't know if he's an ICE agent. I don't know that it's been confirmed exactly what his role was. I also think it's funny that Tim Pool made sure that he's getting credit for this video. I would not want my name on this video. Now we got the brown shirts out there beating up women. Let's go back. You tell me what she did to deserve this. What she took? She's not touching him. Then their arms touch as she's trying to follow her husband. She has to be slammed to the ground like this. Oh, what big men? Well, you guys are all about protecting women. You'll hear the thump. The thump you're about to hear is her head, because as he took her down, he also grabbed her arms, so she didn't have the ability to brace herself, and you'll hear her head slam against the ground. A week ago, Donald Trump said, "We will let them do whatever the fuck they want now, and we'll take the heat for it." This man will face no repercussions from the Trump administration. We're slamming women's heads on the fucking ground now because they're upset that their spouse got taken away. That guy could have just kept standing there. He could have detained her. There's anything he could have done. That's the one thing he didn't need to do. There was no reason for any of that. Oh, you big, strong men, you're so fucking tough. Again, I'm going to go back to this. You're all fragile bitches who don't know how to make your brain wrap around what's happening right now. You can't figure any of this shit out. You wake up every day and you get sold a bunch of lies, and you're so hysterical and you're so discombobulated and disoriented that you see this shit and you think that it's an attack on you. I'm seeing Republicans like, this woman attacked an ICE agent. Excuse me? You fucking pussies. You bitch-ass pussies. Someone should have knocked this guy the fuck out, and it was deserved. I might be more upset that none of these men knocked this guy the fuck out. In what scenario can a man put his hands on a woman, take her arms so she can't brace, and slam her to the ground? When is this scenario ever okay? And not one man stepped in there? They just filmed? Because that's America now. World star. Fuck this administration. Fuck ICE. Fuck this bitch, dude. He's such a bitch. He's like a dude in his 50s. This is the only person he could beat up. If he's in a real fight, he's going to get his ass kicked. Fuck these people. Fuck this administration, and fuck you if you're still with it. The fuck is wrong with you? There should be national outrage here. National outrage. But no. If this was during the Biden administration, we would have congressional hearings now. You would be storming the Capitol already. And I will say, I guess maybe from the left, maybe everybody's a bunch of pussies on the left too, because they won't stand up for this. That's disgusting. This person should one step away, lose their job immediately. But instead, his buddies are just like, meh. That's the image you want? This is the image that you guys are proud of? A woman who just had her head slammed to the ground? This position. Everybody who's ever been beat up or seen somebody who's the victim of abuse, you know that body language. You know what this left arm's there for. That left arm's there to protect from getting hit again. Yeah, that's her kid right there. It's her child. What are these police? I don't know if these are security or Capitol Police. Like, why is this man not arrested? That was assault. That's assault. How do you watch that? Like, again, I'm just gonna say this. Like, I almost refuse to believe that any of the people in the YouTube chat that are supporting this, I refuse to believe that you are real. And if you are real, you are pathetic human beings. Pathetic. I don't know. I don't care. It wouldn't matter who that was. That's what happens when you put an absolute narcissist in charge and you force the people who voted for him to defend everything that they do. We're at the point in America where now we're justifying slamming women to the ground because they're upset that their husband was taken away. By the way, I've seen that exact thing play out 1,000,000 times when somebody is arrested and their spouse is screaming to bring them back and the police hold them. They just hold them. She wasn't getting past him. She was going nowhere. She didn't hit him. She didn't assault him. Nothing. I've seen that play out 1,000,000 times. You can turn on the internet. You can see it 1,000,000 fucking times. And this is, and then the response from the men on the YouTube chat, like, this is why you have a loneliness epidemic, because you legitimately hate women. Women just telling you no has turned you into these people. That's a good point, Marco. Marco said, this will pass and we will remember. We will absolutely remember. But we're headed for a scenario that is going to get progressively more violent. And it's being ramped up by Republicans. Chip Roy has decided that he's not going to be in Congress anymore because Chip Roy doesn't have enough ability to be racist in Congress. So he's going to go back to Texas and he's going to run as Attorney General. Here's what he said today with this video. New York City first, your community next. The advancement of Sharia law and Islamists in the United States must be stopped. You tell me what's scary about this. That's so scary. The only way you could be scared of this is if you are just head to toe, from your big toe to the top of your head, just like every little part of you is just bitch. That's the only way. If you are just a cowardly, scared little toddler. You just got done screaming at all of us. You just got done lecturing us forever because we had the audacity to say thoughts and prayers are not enough. Do more than thoughts and prayers. And you're like, prayers are the most powerful thing in the world. It's important to people. Some people, when they see a tragedy, they pray. Some people, when they see something they don't like, they pray. And we should celebrate that because it's peaceful. Well, this is peaceful. They don't want to see a genocide in Gaza, so they go out and they pray. And members of our Congress are like, you should be very afraid of this. You should be afraid of prayers from brown people. Brown people prayers are scary. For the record, I don't like religion. I don't like their religion. I don't like your religion. I don't think this prayer does a goddamn thing. I don't think it's going to help the people of Gaza one goddamn bit. Because if the gods that you guys are praying to are real, then they don't fucking care about you. So I don't. You can do this all you want. I don't think it does a goddamn thing. But what it also doesn't do is hurt you. And what it also shouldn't do is scare you. I have never once been scared of people praying while holding signs, advocating for another country, for a people that are being genocided. Your party, The MAGA party is the party now, openly. You guys have always been the party of white supremacy, but there were a lot of you who, one, didn't consider yourself white supremacists, or two, you were like, I don't know if that's really white supremacy. Now we're doing it. We are doing Christian and white supremacy. Everything bad in this country is being blamed on groups of people. Can you just show me a time when that's worked out? Any of you, can you show me a country when they have pointed to groups of people and blamed them for everything, when that worked out well without a bunch of people being murdered? The only reason that you on the right think that is because a lot of times the white people do a genocide and you just don't fucking care. And you see that group of white people ruling and you're like, see, it actually worked out. But you just don't acknowledge the genocide. Like in this country, we don't acknowledge the fact that like we just did a genocide on indigenous people. And you look at that and it doesn't scare you because you're white. And look, I'm also not going to be attacked for this. And for some of you, that's really confusing. Like I get you guys mad at me like, dude, you're selling out your own people. I don't have people. I just have humanity. I don't have a group of people. I don't identify with white Christian Americans. I don't identify with white Americans. Those aren't my people. It's not my people that are doing this. I don't identify with them. There is no attack on me or you. If you look like me, you're not under attack. Can you stop being hysterical bitches for like 5 seconds? I've got a 5-year-old kid. She's not this hysterical. It's just you, a bunch of angry white dudes like, they're coming for us. We're mad. All of the violence, all of it is being perpetuated by our government, and it's the only way you can come is by watching our government attack its own people. I honestly, like this is fucking insane. This is a sitting member of Congress. Will he be censured? No. Will he call for Ilhan Omar to be censured? Yes. Why? Because she's brown. Not because she said anything about white people, not because she's othering a group of people, but because she looks like the people that you soft ass motherfuckers hate. There is nothing weaker than hating somebody's identity. Nothing. Just think about that. Just think about all the things that could upset you in this world, all the things that can bother you, all the things that could really affect my life that I could be upset about, and I'm going to be upset about somebody who looks differently or prays differently. Like that's legitimately an attack on me. Listen, for everybody that's in the YouTube chat right now, I'd say this every day. You guys are fucking stupid too, just so you know. And once they get rid of the brown people, it's you. You're next. They don't give a fuck about you because you'll be a poor person. And you see what they do to poor people. You'll see how they think about poor people. And then, heaven forbid, you lose your job and you need some help and the government steps in. And the government's like, yeah, we'll help you with your groceries. You're going to have a bunch of Republicans calling you a leech. We need to cut taxes for billionaires again, and we need to give handouts to these billionaires so they'll go somewhere else. But these fucking leeches here, you know, that Facebook lays off 30% of its workers, and who are we going to demonize? The workers that got laid off. That's who we should demonize. Not Facebook, not Apple, not Amazon. None of these public traded companies. No, they're not the problem. It's these pesky poor people. In an oligarchy, eventually you become the poor. You're an oligarch or you're poor. And when you're poor, if you don't do exactly what they tell you to do, you are nothing to them. And even if you do everything they want you to do, you're still nothing. You want to work in these factories where you just, like, you die in a factory and they're like, move the next person. Somebody bring the cart for the bodies. And there's some dude whose job it is to cart away dead people just comes and gets it because they deregulate everything because they want an extra dollar, an extra penny on each piece that they're selling. That's who you'll become. And the money that they pay you, they'll be like, I hate that I have to pay these people. If we can figure out some way to not pay these people and just let them die. Oh, AI could help. Maybe we could replace some of the money we're paying these people with AI. And then these people can't find jobs. You're like, fuck them, let them die. But I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them when I go to a restaurant. So let's move them off into camps, please. I don't want to have to look at this scum when I go to restaurants. That'll be you. Why do you like every single person here is one bad day away from being houseless? Every one of us, there's a scenario where we could be homeless, all of us. So when you look at this administration and you look at how they view people who are homeless, that could be you. Especially if you're just like blue collar job and your job gets replaced by automation. Fuck are you gonna do? Where are you gonna go? On the streets. Well, I'll live in the mountains because that's how we do it. I'm learning survival skills. Ironically, you have like all these doomsday preppers on the right, and they're like, we have to be prepared for one day when the government has all the money and they don't take care of you and they come after you if you speak out against them. How are you preparing for that? Well, I'm accelerating the rate at which that will happen. I'm voting for the oligarchs. I'm making sure that poor people don't have any sort of protection. I'm making sure that we demonize those people. And we're going to cut health care too. So this thing that I'm so very afraid of, I'm going to make sure that it happens. Because then you don't look as stupid as a doomsday prepper, right? You're like, you get to be like, I told you so. Yeah, you did tell us so. And we tried to tell you not to make it so, but you insisted that we make it so. It seems like a lot of you just like are anxious for this. And ironically, like it's for the same reason. The same reason that you see a bunch of like a significant amount of Americans changing their opinion on socialism and viewing socialism as an opportunity, as a path forward, is the same reason you want to bring on the end of the world. Because we both recognize the same thing. It's fucked. The system is fucked. But what you guys won't do is be honest about who fucked the system. It's not immigrants. It's not these Muslim folks praying. It's not trans people. It's not LGBTQ people. It's not blue-haired lesbians. It's the oligarchs. The reason the dollar doesn't go as far is the oligarchs. The reason American manufacturing disappeared is the oligarchs. It's not the government. The government sent all these jobs overseas. That's not how it works. It was the oligarchs. It was the rich. They wanted more money. They didn't want to pay you more money. So they found a country that pays a lot less. And they said, we'll pay those people money until we can get automation. That's why they keep talking about reshoring American manufacturing, and we're not doing it. Quick, tell me the manufacturing that has been reshored. You see Colombian President Gustavo Petro call for a criminal process against Trump? No, I didn't. Let's see. You said it was who? It was Gustavo Petro. Let's see, I didn't see that. Calls for a full criminal investigation into Donald Trump during a United Nations speech. Oh, let's see.
La barbarie hoy es del planeta. Hoy cae.
Barbarism is a global. Let me just mute this. Let me just mute it and I'll read. Barbarism is of global concern. It's now affecting all of humanity. The missiles that hit 17 unarmed young men in Caribbean waters, maybe some of them Colombians. The imprisonment, chaining, and expulsion of migrants. The missiles that fell on over 70,000 people in Gaza, killing them. The lack of action over the climate crisis. What's crazy is like Republicans right now are reading this like, oh, this is all bullshit. That's how easy it is. They just tell you that you shouldn't care, that this stuff's all bullshit and you shouldn't care. Words which are being erased by Donald Trump. It's all linked and due to one reason. Migration is an excuse for a wealthy, white, and racist society that thinks of themselves as the superior race, and for them to look away from their leaders to take them along with all of humanity to the abyss of its own extinction. Damn. That's pretty profound. Like that is, unfortunately, that is like Western civilization. We talk about like Judeo-Christian values, Western Christian values. You know what Western values are? War, murder, genocide, believing that you have rights to other people's resources and their lands. White Western cultures think they are superior because they don't value human life. That's the reality. For a Christian nation, you don't give a fuck about human life. The poor in this country are treated horrifically. Immigrants treated horrifically. Anybody you disagree with, you don't value their life at all. You guys don't even value Charlie Kirk's life. You're all using Charlie Kirk's life to make money and to prop yourself up as victims. For fuck's sakes, they're shooting music videos and selling merch, and they have pyrotechnics at Charlie Kirk's memorial. I'm so tired of like Christians conservative Christians pretending. Do you guys know about like Trump's whatever that lady's name is, that like the spiritual advisor, the one that's like whoever that lady is that speaks in tongues? She's just stolen. She's a lifelong criminal who uses Jesus to cover up for the fact that she's a criminal so that you guys don't care. That's why Donald Trump pretends he's Christian now. Because if he says that, you guys think it's warranted. It's why you embrace people like Andrew Tate and Russell Brand that openly talk about like abuse women, that not only talk about abusing women, but physically abuse women. Paula White, thank you. Physically abuse women. And then they're like, oh, but no, I love Jesus. And you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they're on our side. And then you'll see somebody like Ilhan Omar like point that out, be like, hey, they're terrible. They abuse women. You're like, why don't you go to your Muslim country and see how you're treated then? Because you won't even acknowledge her point. You hate her so much that no matter what she says, as an American citizen who apparently cares enough about America to run for office, no matter what she says, you guys will be like, well, go back to a Muslim country and see how that goes. Well, most Muslim countries, she's safer than she is here. That's the reality. In most countries where you have a significant amount of Muslims, they're safer. Did you guys know that there are Christian churches in Iran? Did you know that? Did you know that you can openly practice Christianity in Iran, despite the fact that like there are a bunch of people who say that you can't and who are against it? Please explain to me about the fundamentalist Muslims in Iran, the ones that say like this should only be a Muslim nation. The ones that don't like that Christians are there. Explain the difference between those people and Chip Roy, please. What, just the religion? Well, our guy is totally right, and their guy's totally wrong. See, their religion's wrong, and ours is right. Why is that? Well, look at their religion. Look at all the violence they commit. Look at your religion. Look at all the violence that you commit. Seems like religion's the common denominator there, right? Seems like extremist religious people are the common denominator there. Let's look at our very Christian Secretary of Defense. What does he do more than anything? Abuse women. He loves abusing women. He fucking hates consent, and goddamn does he hate Muslims. He said, let's kill all of them. And you guys get on board because like, he's a good Christian man. But look, he's talking about Jesus, guys. Yeah, but he's murdering people. He's advocating for the murder of people. But he says Jesus. And look at him. He's handsome and he can do pull-ups. It is so easy to trick fucking conservatives. Like tomorrow I could just put on a cross and I could just start telling you all that I love Trump, and the same people criticizing me today tomorrow would embrace me with open arms, and then you guys would all pay me too, and I'd make quadruple what I make now. I wouldn't even have to ask for donations because you guys would just flood me with comments. As long as I said stuff about women, as long as I demonized immigrants, as long as I was like just like all hate speech the whole time, you would flood me with donations. I'd be the next Charlie Kirk. FOD said, "Don't knock my progressive prepping, brosif." I think you're smart if you're prepping, but if you're prepping and then like trying to make it come sooner, I got a problem with that. Let me read some comments here. I only have about an hour left, so we do need to knock out that goal before Friendly Friday. Let me get some of these. I think we're a ways away. Sarah said, from Mama Rara, check out Lindsay Halligan's background. Beauty pageant contestant, unqualified, and was personal attorney for Mar-a-Lago documents case. Facts. I touched on the fact that she hadn't tried a case. I didn't know she was a beauty pageant contestant. Ironic. Ryan, thanks for contributing to the goal. Appreciate you. Jamar said, roses are red, violets are blue. You orange bitch. Fuck you. Also, fuck MAGA, fuck Tex. Peter, thank you for the donation. Tex blocked me on everything and then tried to like clipped me out of context and is trying to float that on Twitter right now that I'm advocating doxing everybody's families with ICE. But unfortunately for Tex, he has no sway. Amy said, love to Jay, Jen, and all my peeps, the best Discord community. Thank you very much for that. All right, so we are, let's see, let me do some math. 32. So we're we're about 140 short on our gift goal. I'll keep going, and if we can knock that out, great. We can get to Friendly Friday. If not, we do have to keep going. Unfortunately, we have bills to pay, so we gotta do what we gotta do. I read that one already. Okay. Jennifer Welch, who bothers me. I'm gonna be honest. I just remember the name of her podcast. She has historically bugged me because she's just like a rich kid, and she just. I don't know. But I think that she has been radicalized a bit in the last couple of months because beginning of the year and during the campaign, I thought that she was just like, she would just play patty cake with Democrats. She didn't hold hard lines when it came to Gaza and corporatism. But I think she's been radicalized. And she had on Jeff Duncan here. If you're not familiar with Jeff Duncan, you may know, you may recognize the name. This is a Republican former lieutenant governor, or maybe he's still the lieutenant governor of Georgia. And he has now switched parties, and he's a Democrat now, and he's running as a Democrat. And we need all of this energy. For these folks that have a platform that's big enough to get somebody like Jeff Duncan on, I'm just going to applaud Jennifer Welch for this interview.
Will you take AIPAC money, or have you taken?
It's called I've Had It. Thank you.
AIPAC money.
I'm not certain if I've taken it or not. I've been in office 10 years. It doesn't jump out at me as I'm taking it. But I think the most important part
will you for this race?
I have no idea. I haven't even thought about it.
Okay, come on, Jeff. This is like there's a genocide going on right now. In even human rights, Israeli human rights groups see this, that the United States of America is funding.
To see these kids starving.
And to not know if you're going to be beholden to the Israeli lobby is to me is not something that should take time to think about, because you started off this interview with us talking about your faith.
It is.
Will you take AIPAC money in this race?
I have no idea. I haven't even thought about it.
Wow. Okay, I want to take that moral clarity that you have right there and then ask you again, are you going to take money from AIPAC? Because just there you talked about, and AIPAC is what helped. They gave Trump over, I think, $200-300 million. Are you going to take money from a group that lobbies to deny that that's happening to those children?
I'm not going to give you the shallow answer of saying yes or no, because
if you can have moral clarity to talk about the starvation, the famine, and the genocide, then it's a very easy jump to then just say across the board, you wouldn't believe how popular you'd be, Jeff. You just wouldn't believe how popular you'd be if you said, I am not taking money from AIPAC.
We'll certainly continue to look at it.
I actually like how she said that. Because these people definitely, they care about popularity. Obviously, they're running. And they weigh everything they say based on what they think the voter base would be. I think that was a good way for her to frame that. Like, you don't even know how popular you'd be. You'd be popular on the right and the left. If he refuses to take AIPAC money, he's going to pick off Republican voters. Like, he's already going to get some anyways, that like the anti-Trump voters. But if he said I'm not taking AIPAC money and he took a hard line, she's right. I thought that was brilliant. Somebody asked, like, what's wrong with her? I just felt like she played patty cake too much. But I am saying, like, I do think that she's killing it right now. I've seen her. She was on CNN, and she's drawing a line in the sand. I might have had like a bad read on her before. I wasn't trying to say that I necessarily know about her. I just haven't ever liked her before. Every time I would see her, I was like, now I like what she's saying.
I hope that you do. Jeff, I wish you the best of luck. I hope that you can report back to us sometime soon that you've thought about these AIPAC donations and that you will not accept them and partner with them in this, because I think that you will have so much more credibility. And how uncomfortable did I make you? I was kind of all in. I wish that people would have.
Just need so much more of that. And, we're just so very late on that. And that's one of the other frustrating parts about America is this is what it's taken for us to like say that Gaza is a genocide. Like it's undeniable, and it's been undeniable for a long time. But it takes so much to deprogram Americans. it is so hard to take somebody's viewpoint and change it because they're married to the viewpoint because it's on their side and they're married to that side. And everybody's afraid of like just moving an inch. They never want to go back an inch because then they're wrong. And I thought that was great journalism. I guess not. Is that what you call it? I don't know if that's good. Great hosting, great line of questioning. And the fact that she came back to it 5 times, we need more of that. So props to her. And I'm sorry if I was wrong about her. I've just never liked her. And now I do. Let's go. Skip some of this. I think I got all that. All right. I want to get to the government shutdown. We talked about it a little bit earlier about the government shutdown, but what this government shutdown is about is Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans have not figured out a way to cut out enough funding to make sure to pay for the tax breaks. So they're staring at a budget right now, and they're staring at a spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet says, even if you guys followed through on everything you said you were going to do, we were going to add $5 trillion to the national debt. But you're not even remotely close to accomplishing those goals. Like the projection for the national debt is closer to 10 trillion now. If they can't make up these cuts. So they have to make cuts everywhere. So naturally, they don't say to these billionaires, "Hey, sorry guys, we're gonna have to pull back some of that money." They don't go to Elon and say, "Sorry, this obsession you have with putting people on Mars, we're gonna have to limit some of the money we're spending on space travel. You're gonna have to lose some of that. Sorry, military, like we're gonna have to drop your budget a little bit because we're not accomplishing these goals." They looked at their sheet and they go, "Where's the one place that can't hurt us with votes if we cut? Oh, health insurance, because they'll never blame us for this anyways. So we're just going to cut that subsidy out. We're just going to take these middle-class Americans and we're going to add $17,000 a year in expenses on top of it. And we'll keep talking about how we cut taxes, and that was very important." Here is Representative Stansfield just kind of explaining where the Democrats are at. Because if you listen to Trump, if you listen to Republicans, they are all saying word for word the same thing, which again goes to show how easy it is to dupe MAGA. They just come out and they're like, they're trying to make all your kids trans and they want open borders and free everything for immigrants, which I haven't found a single Democrat like advocating for that at all. But here's what Democrats are actually saying.
Is my final morning here in...
What did I say? Did I say Stansfield? Stansbury. I know somebody with the same name with Stansfield. If I said Stansfield, I'm sorry.
New York City, and it has been an inspiring and important week here in New York for Climate Week. We've had some amazing discussions. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those in just a moment. But I want to take this opportunity this morning to talk about what is going on with the budget, with the pending shutdown, and what it means for the American people. There's a lot of disinformation going on out there, so let's start with the facts. As you all know, if we don't pass a budget by the end of the fiscal year, which is on September 30th, the government does not have operating funds because Congress holds the keys for appropriation. It's in our Constitution. It is literally the constitutional duty and authority to keep the government funded of Congress. And it is the responsibility of the sitting president to make sure that the government remains open. So here's what's going on. The Republicans have refused, and I'm going to tell you how much they've refused to negotiate in good faith to get a budget passed. They have refused to engage on the substance. They have refused to move bills to the floor that actually could pass a 60-vote threshold in the Senate. They have refused to engage on restoring health care to millions of Americans, and they have refused to actually do their most basic duty in getting appropriations bills passed, and instead have engaged in this high-stakes partisan battle over the budget, already sending out materials saying that Democrats are shutting down the government. Well, guess what? The end of the fiscal year isn't until Tuesday.
Do you see the chat? Do you see them? Do you see the chat? They're like, we're not paying for your illegal immigrants anymore. That's all it takes. It just takes Republicans saying that, and these dipshit motherfuckers that follow them just repeat it. They just repeat it. Give me the bill. Give me the bill and the ask from Democrats. I've seen what they're asking for. It has nothing to do with like bringing in illegal immigrants. That's how stupid you are. When you say that, whoever said that in the chat, that's how stupid you are. No, she's not from Florida. She's from New Mexico. You just heard something and you repeated it. And you hate immigrants so much that that's how easy it is to trick you. They just say immigrants are like, okay, fine. Yeah, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Because I don't like immigrants either. It has nothing to do with immigrants. You're just dumb. And they know that. They know how fucking stupid you are. We're seeing it in real fucking time.
But in spite of that, we actually had votes scheduled for Monday and Tuesday, which would have given sufficient time to negotiate a deal, to actually get something passed to keep the government open. And the Republicans canceled votes last week because they control not just every chamber, but in the House, they control the floor schedule. And they canceled votes altogether, meaning they are just basically guaranteeing a shutdown. So that's the facts. In an effort to try to get things moving forward for the American people, the leadership of the Democratic Party has requested a meeting with the president. And instead of meeting with leaders to try to negotiate a bipartisan agreement, the president went on the global stage here in New York City, gave this completely, and you know what I'm talking about if you watched it, insane speech on the global stage, and then basically posted this
Muted.
Oh, fuck. There we go. I want to answer something. Thanks, Jen. Somebody said that we need to like not name call. Where is it? We need to figure out a way to stop that, not call people dipshits. The people that we want to convince, they seem to only be convinced by name calling and demonization. They seem to just only agree with things once it's popular. So I disagree with that. I think it's very important to consistently point out that what we said before this started is that Republicans just say something and their people are too stupid to do any thinking of their own, so they just come and they repeat it. So then when somebody repeats that, I'm going to say dipshit. Maybe it's the right way, maybe it's not. But I do know that if I have a conversation with them one-on-one, which they don't like to do, if we have a one-on-one conversation, everybody who ever talks to me, like almost everybody who ever talks to me, we have a cordial conversation. And we just had debates on Wednesday night. And almost every person I talked to from the right, because everybody was from the right, almost every one of them agreed with me. They agreed with everything we said until the end, where I said, okay, Trump doesn't want this. Why do you still support him? And they all say the same thing. Well, I'm scared of illegal immigration. And I'm scared of people turning my kids trans. So I'm going to stick with it. But it's dipshittery. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's the wrong way. Maybe it's the right way. But I don't think me coming up here and like playing patty cake with Republicans works. They don't want to talk about any of this. All they ever want to talk about is immigrants and trans people. And it's not because they actually even care about those things. It's just that those are the things that they feel like they can win on. Because it's a nuanced conversation. When we talk about immigration, we talk about the rights of trans people. It is nuanced. You have to understand it. It takes a little bit of work, and nobody can do that from the comment section. And so they just stick with those two things. So no matter what I bring up, they're gonna default back to that. And I think that if you are a person who, no matter what is brought up, you default to those things, I'm going to call you a dipshit, and we're going to predict what you're going to do before that. And then when you do exactly what we predicted, we're going to call you a dipshit. I'm going to try shame. I grew up in a cult. Shame worked for them. These guys are in a cult. Shame works. Shame actually helped me get out of a cult because I started feeling stupid. I saw like some of my friends who I looked up to, and I saw them getting out of the cult, and like their lives were getting better, and they were speaking about things like that made sense, that weren't relying on "you'll see." And I'm like, oh, I do feel kind of fucking stupid right now. So yeah, we gotta get out of that. So that's what I'm gonna try. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't.
equally insane and bonkers.
Let's see. Sorry, let me get some of these. Valerie, thank you. Frankie said, have a great weekend, Jen. Lisa said the GOP released her unredacted military records. Who's unredacted military? Stansbury? Lisa said, did you hear about Mike Sherrill, who's running for governor? Her opponent, Jack Sciattarelli, posted her Social Security and military service information. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Mickey Sherrill. No, I didn't know that. That's crazy. Of course. They'll talk about that. Republicans, do you think that she should have been doxxed?
Post saying he was not going to meet with Democratic leadership to negotiate a budget. Now, it's been revealed in the last several days that not only do they want a shutdown, OMB is planning to use this shutdown to conduct mass firings of federal employees. In fact, Politico reported that the OMB director has sent guidance to the agencies basically telling them they cannot repurpose their balances to try to keep the mission critical aspects of the government operational. And we have a copy of the memo. We'll send you all a link. But the memo is so strange. I mean, it basically says to the agencies, prepare to fire federal employees. So these guys want a shutdown. Now, they think that they are somehow going to blame the Democrats and
OMB director's Russ Vought.
And gaslight the American people into believing that this is something that we want for our country. But they are the ones that control the process. They are the ones that are responsible under the Constitution. And they are the ones that have refused to negotiate in good faith. And so what I want to say is this. We're going to show up for work on Monday. Democrats are going to show up for work. So if Republicans don't show up for work on Monday, that will be on them. But we are showing up for the American people because that is what we do. Now, secondly, it's been an amazing...
End it right there. Also, they're going to shut it down about the time we want to take votes on the Epstein list and releasing the Epstein list. How much longer are you guys willing to sell out our country for Jeffrey Epstein and for Donald Trump? How much longer are you willing to play this game? I hope Democrats should not cave. Somebody needs to put Chuck Schumer in a closet and lock it. Or just give him bad directions. Somebody needs to put tape over Hakeem Jeffrey's mouth. Like, we can't let these little cowardly Democrats, like, they own it. And before we go, we're going to get to Friendly Friday. But I think that the President of the United States owns government shutdowns. When the government shuts down and Congress is unable to come together and agree on something, I think that is the fault of the president. The president's job is to bring people together. And there's been a history of presidents who were unable to avoid a government shutdown for a while. The government would shut down for a week or two, and I think it's their fault. I think it was Joe Biden's fault. I think it was Trump's fault. And I think that anybody who says otherwise, and MAGA, do you agree? I want to see just raise a hands, MAGA. Do you agree that if the government shuts down, it's the government, it's the the president should own it? Just thumbs up if you agree with me that the president should own it. Thumbs down. And I only want MAGA. I only want Republicans. No libs here. I just thumbs up if you think the president owns it. Thumbs down if you think the president doesn't own it. We still have you guys here? God, that storm is coming in hot. Thank you, Alter Ego, for the gifted subs as well. Troy, yes, I agree. Hannah says no. Maverick says no. Some of you guys can't be resisting 47 and also vote. Hannah, no. Okay, so most of the Republicans I'm seeing here are saying no. The president has nothing to do with it. It's Congress in the Senate. Okay. So I guess you think I'm dumb and Donald Trump is smart and Donald Trump doesn't own any of this. But let me just I'm going to get ready for Friendly Friday. I don't remember what this clip is. I'm just going to play it real quick while we prepare. But obviously you guys because you love Donald Trump and he's so smart, you agree with him and not me.
Fired. Who's going to bear the brunt of the responsibility if indeed there is a shutdown of our government?
Well, if you say who gets fired, it always has to be the top. I mean, problems start from the top, and they have to get solved from the top, and the president's the leader, and he's got to get everybody in a room, and he's got to lead. You know, the interesting thing is in 25 years and 50 years and 100 years from now, when the government is, they talk about the government shutdown, they're going to be talking about the President of the United States. Who was the president at that time? They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate, who's running things in Washington. So I really think the pressure is on the president.
Fired.
Yeah, there's always a clip. You're in a fucking cult. There's always a clip. President, it's the president's fault, unless I'm president, and then everything's unfair, and so it's not me. Always a clip. You guys should learn your lesson by now. Where were the thumbs downers? Hannah, what's up, Hannah? Where's Hannah? Somebody go find Hannah. She said it a bunch. Where's Hannah? Explain it, Hannah. Explain why Trump is such a fucking idiot. Everybody wait for Hannah. You can, we're going to go to Friendly Friday now, but Hannah, you it's different times. Yeah. He's the president now, and I'm in a cult. And so whatever he says doesn't apply to him. Okay? It only applies to others. You fucking idiot. Let me read some comments, Jen, while you set that up. Marlene said, paying to help keep the lights on. Pink said, appreciate what you said about mediocre men like Tex. Valerie, thanks for the super chat. I think I read that from Frankie. Said, have a great weekend, Jen. Shoot that shot. Here. Stephanie, thank you for joining the Dollar Train. Jen says, let's see. Pull the message. Love what you're doing on TikTok. Thank you. It's on YouTube too. I prefer that you guys be on YouTube and Twitch because they pay us for views. Brianna, thank you. It said for my daily therapy. Robin said, thank you. Susan said, great show. Rachel said, thanks, Jay and Jen. Walter said, happy Friday. Indeed. Ginger said, because I love you. Thank you. Jamie also said, happy Friday. All right, let's get to Friendly Friday. If you're a MAGA here, you may want to take off because we're all going to say nice things to each other now, and that's probably going to piss you off, so you may not want to be here. This is the friendliest Friday in all the land. I have until I probably have about I need to leave at 1:30, so I got to be done in, let's say we've got 35 minutes. I got to get out of here by 1:20. We ready to go, Jen?
Yeah, so if to join Friendly Friday, you need to be in Discord. So if you guys want to head over to the general chat VC, we can get it going. So I'll drag us over there.
What is your news tattoo that needs to be covered ASAP? Drop it. I'm watching for you in the chat. Des Moines. Let's see what happened. Des Moines to our superintendent. Let me look at this real quick, just in case it's breaking news. Let's see.
I sent you something in our chat. It's probably buried a ways back.
On behalf of the board of Des Moines Public Schools, I wish to share information of immediate importance. Pursuant to the board-approved DMPS leadership succession plan, Matt Smith, the associate. Wait, let me step in. Okay, so what happened? This action follows Dr. Ian Roberts being detained by ICE. What? Huh?
No one is talking about. ICE has just detained the superintendent of the largest school district in Iowa, the Des Moines School District. Dr. Ian Roberts, the superintendent for the school district, has officially been detained by ICE, according to local reports. This is a story that's not getting much traction nationwide, and partly is because folks are very numb to what's happening with immigration enforcement in America. But with that being said, they just detained a public servant, a public official, Dr. Ian Roberts. And the reason why, well, it's unclear. No one knows. There's a lot of speculation on the internet, but there are no facts right now to suggest why Dr. Roberts was detained by ICE officials. Obviously, we'll get more information in the coming hours, but this is a significant escalation if ICE is now going forward and detaining public officials in their line of duty. So spread the word. More to come soon. Subscribe to my Substack at the link in my bio to support my work. And as always, follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. I will have much more to come very soon.
All right. They can't arrest citizens. I don't know. All right. I'll keep looking. Let's get to Friendly Friday. Who's first?
Illusion.
Hey, follow that up.
Well, it reminds me of what we were seeing with alligator Alcatraz down there